Prenum la café baile.
You're doing so. Good evening.
Good evening, Champagne. Good evening to all listeners. The constituents of Castries Southeast especially. We are inside Castries Southeast tonight. We are in your homes, in your cars, in your living rooms. We are there with you on the internet, on GVD TV, and on Sky 93.1.
That's right.
I would like to officially welcome Dr. Wendy Bailey Joseph, who's accompanying me on the program tonight, and let me allow her the opportunity to greet everyone before we begin the discussion tonight.
Thank you very much, Minister. Good evening, Champagne.
Good evening.
Good
to
evening,
you.
all of the listeners, those who are at home. Well, I guess everybody should be at home
By
right
now. Almost
maybe
everybody.
the frontline workers probably still out wrapping up loose ends or taking care of us because it's
Yes,
what they do.
indeed.
And we thank them for that. So good evening, everyone, and I am extremely happy to be here this evening. Now, Champagne.
Yes.
You may wonder, why am I in green tonight?
I was trying to figure it out. Yes.
Green mask,
Yes.
green jacket.
Yes.
Well, guess what? I am shouting out to Maria Garetti House tonight.
All right.
From the St. Joseph's Convent. Let me tell you, ladies, have no fear. Have no fear. You are going to emerge the winner because you're just that good.
Oh, boy.
Okay?
We should give them the
Oh
best. We
yeah,
should give them the best.
Maria Garetti tonight, the Garetians is what I call
Garetians,
them.
all
They're
right.
big, they're bad, and they're in charge.
Yes, yes.
So,
yes.
hats off to you girls. We're going to emerge the winners of this virtual sports meet.
So, were you part of that house when you were in at the convent?
No, I actually did not attend the convent.
Oh, you did not?
One of
Oh,
my favorite
okay.
nieces attends the convent.
Oh, okay.
However, when I was at my secondary school, at Corinth Secondary School,
Yes.
I was in the greenhouse.
Oh, wow.
So listen, my blood is green. Okay? I run in green.
Okay,
And
boy.
so I am with the Maria Garetti house 200%.
You know, I was thinking maybe we have a new political party in the
Maria Garetti?
Yes. All right, well, beautiful. Well, we're here with Miss Dr. Wendy Joseph, and a beautiful lady, as always, and Lucia. And she's here to discuss with us the discussion that's going to be here this evening. Over to you, Mr. Minister. I know you always have
Yes,
some greetings.
Special greetings. There are a few people who celebrated their birthdays during the week, some on Valentine's Day. In fact, yesterday, it was a rather subdued celebration of Valentine's. Nevertheless, it is the environment in which we are in, so I want to shout out Janelle up in Worcester, in Massachusetts, who celebrated her birthday during the week that just last week. I know there are a few other persons, Shana Kodra in Odsa. I know she celebrated her birthday, I think, on Saturday. And all other persons who, in one way or the other, had the opportunity to celebrate something, whether it be a birthday, an anniversary, some special achievement or attainment. I wish everyone all the best, God's blessings. As we continue to battle with COVID and deal with the situations that are before us, I want to extend sympathies to all the families who have lost loved ones through one way or the other, those that are COVID related and those that are not COVID related. Also, I want to express my concerns for those who have been impacted financially by the onslaught of the COVID pandemic and what it has done to not just St. Lucia, but the world. And I know we have listeners far and wide. And for those in isolation, I have been told, Champagne, that the biggest, in fact, one of the hardest parts of dealing with COVID is the isolation, being separated from the people that you love. And you know, when you are sick is when you need the greatest level of attention from family, from friends and loved ones. You know, when you get a visit when you are sick and when someone visits you, it kind of take away your mind from the pain for the
for a little
moment.
while, yeah.
And you are able to, to focus your mind elsewhere. COVID is a wicked disease. It's a wicked virus in that it causes us to separate, and when you need people the most is when you cannot have them close to you, not even your most loved ones. So I want to say to those persons who are battling the COVID virus, who are in isolation, whether at the facilities, at the hospital, or even at their homes, that they need to do it to remain in isolation for the better good of the rest of their loved ones.
Yeah.
And you know, just like parents sometimes would rather be the ones who sick instead of their children, especially babies and little ones who cannot really express how they feel. And that is why we appeal to everyone. Let us play our part to try and protect everyone around us. We should not want COVID for even our worst enemies. So the protocols remain in effect. No matter what happens in the business environment, whether the country is open or it's closed, the fact remains that if we follow the protocols, and today we had a very interesting discussion by one of the persons who had headed the Southern Taxi Association for many years. And he said that according to their knowledge, not one of the taxi drivers had
contracted the virus.
They have not contracted the COVID virus.
Yes.
Not one of them. Even if they are the ones who do the transfers to the hotels, they transport people, they do a lot of things that because they follow the protocols.
Yeah, I could tell you
There's
from my
strict
end.
adherence. Well, you are at the airport
I could
campaign
tell
and
you
you
from
would
our
know
end,
that.
yeah, we are in direct contact with the passengers immediately after they comes out of customs. And our 15 members, but we don't work every day now. It has been a rotation period, but not one of our guys, thank God, have contracted the virus. So something is working out at the airport. The protocols have been followed.
Now, Champagne, since I have my wife here on the program with me tonight, I am not sure that I may follow the normal procedures and processes of highlighting.
So we're not doing the politics? We're not going into all those books? We're not doing...
Yes.
I know it's a special occasion, a special program.
Yes. We will deal with some of that. I think I will highlight a few points and then go to that. Hey,
Okay, beautiful.
I almost forgot that my secretary is really... my secretary is celebrating her birthday on Wednesday,
Yes,
Hermina, and
right.
I want to shout
Her mom
her
called
out
this morning.
tonight.
Yes.
I know her mom is a regular
Oh, my
caller to
goodness,
this program.
every day.
So, Hermina, advance birthday greetings to you. I'm hoping that you have a lovely day as your special day of celebration is approaching. So, I need to touch a few points on the politics before
Yes.
Wendy comes in for us to discuss some of the other issues.
Right.
And I've said to you, Champagne, on the program that it is easy for people to talk. And during this week, I've heard some comments that have been made in various parts of the media. I have highlighted that, but I think I need to highlight it again.
Please do.
And I am going to read a quote from Hansard, 9th April 2014 and 30th April 2014. And that was a debate we were having in the Parliament of St. Lucia. In this debate, Champagne, we were highlighting, I was raising some concerns about the level of expenditure that had transpired with the government. And I will read from page 43. And that is under the Honorable Member for Castries is Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure, Port Services and Transport. Now remember, that's in 2014, so I would have been an opposition parliamentarian. And I saw where the Labour Party government had gone out and drawn down in excess of $200 million, or I don't want to be precise on the figure, but a substantial amount of money from the savings we had in the banks. And I raised a question to the government and to ask them, why would you go down and draw down on the savings of the people or the resources of this country? And here's how the member responded. The member for Castries Southeast says that these numbers in the books are useless. He says he has no understanding. Let me read that carefully. He says he has no understanding. He does not trust anything in these books, but he quotes them. So that's what he is saying. He quotes what he does not trust. So he's saying that I quote what I don't trust. But these are the numbers given to me, so that's what I have to work with. The member for Castries Southeast makes a hue and cry, H-E-U, hue and cry, about drawdowns from banks, and he says, what do you do with that? Where have you got the money from? And then his response is, it is very simple. Very simple, Mr. Speaker. It is written on page 7 of the Social and Economic Review. The Social and Economic Review says, during 2013-2014, the fiscal deficit was partly financed by sizable drawdown of government deposits at commercial banks. Consequently, the growth in the public debt slowed to 4.9%. So what the Minister of Finance did, very simple. Instead of borrowing money at possibly 7.5% or at 6%, he would use the money from the commercial banks because the deposits to the commercial banks are only 2% or even 1%. So there is a savings on the spread of the interest rate because you have to borrow at 7, and when you have when you have to vary a deposit in at 1%, 2%, and Mr. Speaker, that is further provided or proved. An overdraft is even higher. The overdraft rates are very high. So you leave the money in the bank at 1% and 2% and you borrow. So it is a choice that the Minister of Finance made because it is simpler. It makes more economic sense at this point to use your cash instead of borrowing. So when the Labour Party said that we left government and we left the country broke, that was a lie. Because the evidence is showing here that he is admitting, and from my knowledge, there was in excess of 200 million in the banks, whether it be through overdraft deposits and all the different mechanisms that government has at its disposal for accessing money. So the government of the Labour Party was planning a budget where they were spending more than they were earning. And what they did, they went and they drew down on that money. And he says that's very simple. Now, that's a man aspiring to be the Minister of Finance of this country. You are telling me that you are going to go to a...
So is the member for Castries East and not Southeast? Because you said Southeast.
No. He's responding to me. The member for Castries East. That is his... What I read there...
You're right.
What I read there is his contribution. So he's saying what was done was very simple.
Yes.
All we did was... Now, everybody knows that you can have savings in a bank, but you're not going to draw down on all your savings. You will go and take a loan if you want to buy a vehicle, and you have the vehicle $60,000, and you have $60,000 in the bank. You'll go and draw down your whole $60,000 and just go and pay for the vehicle. So if tomorrow you fall sick, can you take a door of the vehicle and bring it to the doctor and say, well, hold on to that door so I can, for my treatment or for my doctor's visit? You cannot do that. Cash is king. Everybody understands to be successful, to be effective, you need a certain amount of cash at your disposal. So that's why businesses go and they borrow. They take loans. Even if you have assets that are worth more than the loans, you don't go and sell your house or a piece of land you have because you may mortgage the land, but you keep your cash. So that is what they did. So the government was building a reserve. So in a COVID pandemic like this, we would not be begging. We would not be scranting. We would not have to, the first line would not have to be to borrow. What we would have done was to be able to have access to draw down. And I remember in the parliament, I said to him, people like my mother who never worked, anytime somebody got sick, you could go to them and they had a few dollars saved. They used to have what we call the mouchouet, the head tie. Somewhere in that would have a little knot and a few dollars. Somewhere in the corner of the house. Because if you give them, in those days, if you give them $50 to go and shop, they would never spend the whole $50. They would save $5 or $10 and put it on a side. And you'd figure out, but these people never work anywhere. You that working sometimes, you don't have money, but you can go to them. And I use all of that illustration to highlight why we needed to save money. But this Labour Party is all about spending. It's never been about managing. And they spend what they did not have. And that is why St. Lucia found itself in a difficult situation.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Minister. Coming into power in 2006, how much money was there, if you would know, in reserve?
I would not venture to give a number because I don't want to mislead. I don't want anybody to be able to question the information that I give here. I would have to look for that and give it to you at some other point in time.
What about now, 2016? You still would know?
No, I did not check these figures. What I can tell you is that if they drew down on all the reserves that was there.
It's obvious that there wouldn't be anything there.
I know there was in excess of 216 million, which they drew down on. Now, I want to read something here on page 63 of Dr. Kenny Anthony's 1998 budget speech. And I'm not saying this out of spite. I just want people to understand what the government thought of the health sector when they came in. On the page 62, it says, accident and emergency services. Mr. Speaker, few patients who receive treatment at the casualty department compliment Victoria Hospital for the quality and efficiency of the service. The Ministry of Health estimates that the casualty department accounts for at least 50% of the complaints against Victoria Hospital. And under the heading lack of proper management, there is an absence of suitably qualified and experienced medical and nursing personnel to service the department. This, coupled with the absence of precise policies and procedures to guide the operations of the department, make management difficult. Now, that is Dr. Kenny Anthony speaking. Inefficiency of staff and expertise. The medical staff of 6 doctors in the casualty department sees, on average, during a 24-hour period, some 200 patients, 70% of whom are non-emergencies. There are free shifts during the period with 1 doctor on each shift. Every patient is seen by a casualty doctor. Now, here's what they propose. In an attempt to allay the frustrations of the public as well as the personnel in the accident and emergency department, the Ministry of Health will, this financial year, that was back in 1998, focus on the development of emergency services. To this end, provision has been made in the sum of $1,075,000 in the capital estimates, funded in entirely from local revenue. This initiative will be enhanced by a technical cooperation agreement with the respected and well-known Howard University Hospital of the USA. This agreement will involve A, the establishment of the presence of emergency medical doctors and nurses from Howard University Hospital at Victoria Hospital, the organization of a program for the training and management of emergency patients for hospital staff and ambulance personnel, the preparation of protocols, procedures, and standards to guide the accident and emergency services. Now, we've heard so much criticism of the Prime Minister when he spoke about Cayman Health City and what they were doing. What is different from what Dr. Anthony was proposing there? Back in 1998, when they were proposing that these are the adjustments that needs to be made. So, when you hear what they are talking about, and I want to take you to page 89, because they always criticize us about what we said we would do. No, before I go to 89, 85, restructuring and privatization of the St. Lucia Marketing Board. Mr. Speaker, this government recognizes that all of its efforts at improving infrastructural base for agricultural diversification could prove futile if inadequate attention is paid to the organizational arrangements for agricultural marketing. More specifically, if agricultural diversification is to be achieved, it has to be planned. But planned expansion in production can only be meaningful if it is synchronized with marketing efforts. As many farmers have been painfully reminded, coordination between production and marketing is critical in agriculture. Given the inherently perishable nature of agricultural produce, in the pursuit of a market-led approach to agricultural diversification, the government has identified the St. Lucia Marketing Board as having a pivotal role. In order for the St. Lucia Marketing Board to adequately perform its role, it needs to be strengthened and its relationship with key stakeholders comprehensively revisited and redefined. A policy decision has been taken that the optimal form of organization for the St. Lucia Marketing Board at this juncture is full commercialization, leading ultimately to privatization. And I'm making this point so that St. Lucians understand. Dr. Anthony in 1998 establish an entity in government called a privatization department of government. And in his policy statement of the government, he was highlighting the need to have more businesses privatized. So, now, increase in airport service charge. You know, back in 1998 when they came in, they increased the airport service charge. Yet still they would criticize us when we came in and we said we are the lowest charges in the region, one of the lowest. They increased. I mean, I will come one of these days when I'm here alone and deal with all of the issues pertaining to privatization, establishment of a property tax unit. Here's what the Labour Party said in 1998 when they came in. And I'm saying this so that I'm putting the people of St. Lucia on warning. The Labour Party is advancing today that they would eliminate income tax and they would put it on VAT. You remember they said they were eliminating driver's license fees and then put it on the fuel? Who was paying more? Now, everybody who makes $18,000 or less a year do not pay any income tax. When you go and increase VAT, so you know what they are proposing to do? Increase VAT back to the 15% and increase it by a further percentage. Now think of it. The person who goes and does little odd jobs every day and they get a $20 or $50, they can take care of their family. They don't pay any income tax on this. But now they want to eliminate income tax altogether and put everything on VAT. Who's going to pay the VAT?
Everybody pays.
The poor people will be paying the same rate of VAT as the rich people or the people who are well off. So think of the man who earns $200 a week having to pay the same VAT rate as the person earning $10,000 a month. And you telling me that your policies, because we've said it to the people of St. Lucia, that the Labour Party will increase VAT the day they make it back to government, because they were upset that we reduced VAT from 15.5 to 12.5. Now here's what he said about property tax. The first policy measure for this fiscal year concerns land and property taxation. In the contract of faith, which was their manifesto, the party that now forms the government indicated that it would increase recoveries from property tax and from property enhancements brought about by public sector investment. Hear what he says, and I want the people of St. Lucia to understand. We are not disguising what we are doing. We come straight and tell the people. But here's what the Labour Party had proposed. Land and real property taxation has the potential to be a more significant source of revenue in St. Lucia. Most property owners have benefited from increase in property value that have taken place in St. Lucia in recent decades as a means to fund public service. Property taxation is a useful addition to the array of other taxes because public services are capitalized into the value of the property, and the tax is a way to capture back some of those benefits to help the public service. So what the Labour Party was saying there, when we come and fix a road in your community, it gives your property a higher value. So what they were trying to do now is, you remember they had set up that evaluation committee and they were going and measure everybody's houses. And then they wanted you to pay tax based on an assessed value of your property. Because what they are saying is the road has enhanced the value of the property. But today the UWP is building roads, and they are telling you the roads don't have no value.
Yeah.
So isn't the road accumulating the value or increasing the value of the property? But look at how we are doing it. We introduce $1.50 on fuel as a fuel tax. So if you don't own a vehicle and you don't drive a vehicle, you don't pay for fixing the roads. Isn't that a fair way of taxing? Your vehicle saves on spare parts. There are all kinds of benefits to be derived. And for the 5 years, almost 5 years we've been in government, nobody has had to pay property tax for their individual home. Businesses pay property tax. But all individual homeowners have been exempted for the past 4.5 years from paying any property tax in this country. Yet still, what the Labour Party was proposing to do, as soon as they came in, was to start taxing people. And you know that they had measured people's houses, they had put in a unit to determine the value of your house. And they would charge you a percentage of the value of your house as property tax. The approach of this government is a fixed rate. So if you fall into that band, then you should pay that fee. And it should be a fee that is very manageable, not the kind of thousands of dollars, but what we said, to allow people breathing space. We exempted property tax for almost this entire period of governance. So I want the people of St. Lucia to pay attention to what the Labour Party is saying when they tell you they will spend money. You know where they come in to get the money?
From the people.
From our pockets.
Yeah.
They come in and take
Yeah.
the money
Yeah.
because they have no means. Now, I need to bring in Wendy into
Yes.
the discussion at this point in time.
Well, we didn't just bring you here just to look at the studio. We know we brought you here for a particular reason, and we are very happy to have you here in studio with us. So welcome again, Ms. Wendy Joseph, and we know you want to address the people of St. Lucia, so you could go right ahead.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Champagne. My concern as a citizen, Champagne, is what is all around us right now, which is the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
That's the island and the entire world, by extension, is experiencing right now. I have just an admonition for my fellow citizens, and they've heard it over and over again, but you cannot say it too much. We need to protect ourselves. And those of us who are not concerned about ourselves, and we figure, all right, whatever, you have family, you have loved ones, and you have an obligation to protect your loved ones, to protect your family.
Yes.
One of the ways that we can do that, and it's been on the airways, it's been all over the place, we know that one of the ways we can do that is by boosting our immune system. Now, the church that I'm a part of, which is the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we have an arm in the church called medical missionaries. And what it is that we do, these individuals are trained in the simple remedies that can help persons to, get better, and also assist them in living lives where you pay less money to the doctor.
Right.
The simple remedies of nature given by God, because the Bible tells us that the herbs are for the healing of the nation. Okay? And so what the medical missionaries have come up with, they've come together and put a protocol to help to fight COVID. And those persons who are on YouTube and on Facebook, they would have noticed that many individuals are getting better. The duration of COVID is shortened as a result of that. And Champagne, you won't believe what it is. And this protocol is free. It's given to everybody because maybe if it could have been patented, maybe somebody would have. But it's stuff that's in your kitchen, everywhere. You know.
I want to interject for 1 minute. And now that you're saying that, I have a work colleague, one of the guys that work with me, his son went to Canada with the farm program, and the boy contracted the COVID-19. And you know, at that time there was no vaccine. You're not going to believe what he told me. His son said that the ginger, seriously, the ginger and the bay leaf, he said he thought he was going to die because there were no cures at the moment. And the boy told his father all he used was the ginger tea and the bay leaf. He drank it repeatedly every single day, and that healed him, you know. Now, because you're saying that, it just came back to me.
The simple, and that is why I go back again to what God said, that He uses the simple things of the earth to confound the wise. You know, so we are thinking that we're going to get all sorts of big medication that's patented by people, and you have to pay hundreds of dollars for it. But we are seeing there that just the simple things in your backyard, in your kitchen, everybody has it in the kitchen because they use it to cook.
But how do you know which is the right one?
Well, there is not just one set, because a lot of those herbs and plants, a lot of them carry the same kind of properties.
Okay.
Based on, you know, I mean, you group them into different groups and they have the properties. But let me tell you things like what? The turmeric.
Okay.
The turmeric.
Yes. The thing we call
chichima. That's right. And so this is what the medical missionaries came, the Caribbean and some from the US, they came together and they put their heads together, because each person in the different country, they're using their own protocols. But what they did was put their heads together and they came up with something called the super flu bomb.
Right.
And people have been using it. They've been using it in hospitals. A lot of people in the US have used it. St. Lucia. I mean, I wish somebody would call when the lines are open, call and tell us whether you've used the flu bomb or whether you've used the protocols from the medical missionaries, and what was the result? How did you feel? What happened?
So how is it prepared, the flu bomb?
So here's what it is. It's turmeric, 6 inches of turmeric. It's 6 inches of ginger, 10 cloves of garlic, 2 medium onions, lemons, 6 to 12 lemons squeezed, cayenne pepper, which is about 1 teaspoon, or if you have the capsules, you open 5 capsules and you put in there. Now, not just any cayenne pepper. The cayenne pepper has to have a greater heat unit, which is 90,000 to 120,000 heat units.
Okay.
Now, you may not use that for food, so you can get that from the herbal stores.
Okay.
Now, if you have the regular cooking cayenne pepper, that works too, because it will burn your mouth.
We used to have one called pima majara. I don't see that anymore.
Pima guive
is one of those
is
cayenne
the
as well.
cayenne
It's a
pepper,
smaller one, but it's a cayenne pepper
Yes.
as well.
And I mean, cayenne pepper is just, and it's not just a backyard thing. It's not, if you read the medical journals, you will see the goodness of cayenne pepper when it comes to fighting inflammation.
Right.
And so then the next ingredient is 5 tablespoons of honey and water. You take that. Now, if you're diabetic, of course, you're going to leave out the honey. So you take all of that, you blend all the ingredients together in 2 cups of hot boiling water. Next, you let it draw for about 40 minutes, and then you put it in the blender and you blend it powerfully too. Now, you may strain it if you want and take out the pulp, but my thing is the pulp is roughage.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, the pulp is roughage, so you eat it and it helps.
Like you're eating, yeah.
Right. And the number of individuals who have, so what it does, it acts as prevention to strengthen and boost your immune system. And it also acts as to help to open up the lungs and to help to shorten the duration of the virus.
Oh, wow.
I mean, let me tell you, I've not had it myself, so I'm not able to speak from experience, but the testimonies of so many persons who've used it. And again, I am wishing and hoping that somebody who has used the super flu bomb will call us and tell us what their experience with it was. And again, like I said, there are other persons who've come up with different concoctions, and it does work. But this particular one was developed by the medical missionaries in St. Lucia in the US and the Caribbean. And they have asked that, please, if you have, they've sent it out to a lot of people, and they're saying, you know what, we cannot sell that. This is for our fellow brothers and sisters, fellow citizens. Give it to everybody. Give it to your neighbor. Send it on your phone. Blast it out. Let every individual have it. And so if and when they contract the virus, then they can begin to use it before as preventative, and then use it as a means to shorten and to help heal. Now, there are other things, I mean, simple things like peppermint oil. They use the peppermint oil to inhale. You know, like when you have the real bad sinus issues,
Right.
where you take a basin of water, you put your head over it, you put
Right,
a
and
towel
the steam
over, and you
come up.
inhale the steam.
Yeah.
My brother just inhaled some peppermint.
Some peppermint.
Inhale some peppermint. There's another one, oil of oregano. So these are essential oils. Now, we have to be careful with the essential oils, because if you're going to ingest essential oil, it has to be one that is pure crafted. So it doesn't have any other carrier oils in it.
Okay.
And that can be, you can find the pure crafted oils, I think, at the Better Living Health store in Castries. I'm not sure if other stores have it. I'm sure the other herbal stores would have it. But I know for sure that's where it is, because I saw it there. And you take that and take a couple drops and drink, put it in honey and drink it every morning. And I'm telling you, it doesn't hurt. If we do that, it's not going to hurt us. Now, those persons who are skeptical, just try it. Try it, especially if you've contracted COVID, try it. If you try it and it doesn't work, you've not lost.
Okay.
But you try it and it works, then you're able to say, wow, you know what? I give it to my child, I give it to my niece, I give it to my cousin. And there are variations. I mean, you can change based on who is using it, because like I said, if the individual is diabetic, you're going to vary it a little bit. It's great for individuals with high blood pressure, because a lot of the ingredients would help to stabilize the pressure. So I'm just hoping and wishing that a lot of individuals would hear about it and begin to think about those ingredients that we have right in our backyard. Boost our immune system, do the exercise. You know, oh, and the one thing I forgot was that, and that's for me personally, when you take those natural substances for healing, within these substances themselves, there is no healing virtue.
Okay.
So what I like to do is, yes, I take my flu bomb, but when I drink it, I say, Lord, please help me to get better. These are your herbs, and you said it's going to heal me.
That's right.
You said it's going to help my system. So I'm going to take it. You know, holistic. So you do your exercise, you ensure that you sleep on time. All of these things, it helps to boost the immune system, so it gives you a fighting chance when COVID actually hits your system.
Now, there's a lot of people listening to you, and we know the amount of skepticism that surrounds the vaccine. Where are you on that? I mean, now that you have brought that up.
let me come in on because we are inside Castries South.
That's right.
And I want to tell you that the issues pertaining to health and health treatment. So the Better Living Center is located in Castries Southeast.
Oh, wow.
So what we are talking about there is not outside of Castries Southeast. And it's located on the Mount Capitol Hill,
Right.
just by where we did one of the roads.
The park,
in
yeah.
fact, right at the entrance where you did one of the interviews
Okay. I know
on
where it is.
where we interviewed the mayor.
Gentleman, that's right. The
You
mayor.
remember?
What's his name again? Not Roy. What's his name?
Harris Chandler.
Harris, that's right.
Right where we interviewed Mr. Chandler,
That's right.
right on that road, is where the Better Living Center is, sanitarium is established.
Okay.
So they actually do various treatments and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And the store is in corner of Chaussee Road.
Oh, yes. I know the gentleman very well, Taylor. Yes.
Yes.
He and I worked at the airport for a little while. I know them very well.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we, it's not that we're not marketing.
I understand.
That we're not getting anything
That's
from
all right.
this.
That's okay.
But it's just to show that, you know, sometimes it's better to go back to the simple things, and to prevention, boosting what you have already. We have so many individuals in St. Lucia. I tell Mr. Joseph all the time, I said, God must have his hand right over St. Lucia like this. Because the number of persons who have contracted COVID and who have underlying issues, and we only had a few deaths. You know, it could have been a lot more. But what I'm saying right now is, let us try to, it's a little late. I mean, it's not too late to start, but it's stuff that we should have been doing a long time already.
There's never anything too late for help.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we know that this is around, I mean, for heaven's sake, let's
Okay.
reduce on the alcohol. Let's try to get our 8 hours of sleep. You know, let's try to do the exercise. Now, a lot of people are on the road walking, and that's great, you know, but there could be more of that. So then it takes off the burden on our health system, you know. I just wish it's a burden on my heart, and I'm just wishing and hoping that my
So the flu,
do the same.
what do you call it, the flu boost?
Flu bomb, the super flu bomb.
And it's available at the
No,
it's not available?
it's not available because
you
it's
have
so
to do it
simple. You
on
watch
your
your home and you
Okay,
make
so
it.
before you leave,
It's not available for sale.
Yes.
Oh, it's not okay. It's
You
not
know,
out there for sale.
you know,
Okay.
somebody could patent it. Somebody could take this, you know, make it, because some of us are lazy. See, we don't want to go and take the ingredient. You know how long did I take to actually make mine? Every day, he's saying, Wendy, have you made the bomb? I said, I'll make it tomorrow. I'll
Yes,
make it tomorrow.
yes.
Some of us are lazy, you understand?
And sometimes you cannot, there's no way you could find all of the ingredients.
Oh, you
Maybe-
can.
So-
It's turmeric, it's ginger, it's garlic, it's right there. But if somebody wants to be innovative,
Yes.
they can take it, they can make it,
And package.
bottle it,
Yeah.
and sell it to the people.
That is
So champagne, I take it every morning
Wow.
and every evening. So when I leave here and I get home,
yes.
I would take
Yes.
the 2 tablespoons. So the situation that, and we are discussing this here tonight because we want the well-being of the people. And sometimes we think that money is the solution to every problem. It is not always
No.
the solution, because you can have the money
Yeah.
and you cannot find a doctor to see,
That is true.
especially these days. You want to make an appointment to see a doctor and the doctor is not available, so there's very little you can do to so it's not just whether we have the means and the resources, and the things that are spoken about there, they are very simple.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is not just good for COVID or for the flu. It is good generally for building your body's immune system
Yeah.
against anything else. Now, I don't come here and talk to people about things that I'm always used in an experiment. So whatever because Wendy is very much into the health.
Right.
So she had me to fast for 7 days.
Wow.
7 days, no food,
No food.
no juice, no fruits, just chlorophyll water and coconut water.
He had to reset his system.
So, and I fasted for the 7 days. My cabinet colleagues are aware of that. I sat down in the room with them, having lunch, and everybody ate their plate of food, and I was there.
And you had your coconut water.
Had my coconut water and my chlorophyll water.
Wow.
It was my mother and my brother's birthday. On the last day of my fast.
Yeah.
And I was involved in the food preparation and in the sharing of the food.
Yeah.
So imagine I was in the kitchen sharing food
Yeah.
for
That's temptation.
everybody. And that it was the 7th day and I had not eaten anything.
Wow. How
Because-
difficult was it throughout the 7 days? How tempted was it?
The issue with fasting is once you pass the first 72 hours,
Yeah.
then it becomes easier to handle.
Okay.
Now, people may not understand. Today, I eat 1 meal a day, and I did not play by my food prior to that. In the morning, I drink a glass of hot lemon water. I squeeze a lemon, put some warm water, hot water, and some cold water, get it to the right temperature
Yeah.
that I can drink, and I drink that. I eat lunch, and that's it for me. Now, that doesn't mean that will work for everybody else, because depending on your health condition, your situation, it may not work. But that is what we must have, a level of self-discipline.
Yeah.
And I think that that is one area that we are lacking. Or we must have the willpower to be able to do what is good for us. Because I used to think, go and sleep with, I make skip breakfast and lunch. But when it came to dinner, that is when I ate the biggest plate of food.
Yeah.
You eat a big plate of food and you go and sleep. You know what that does to your body?
Recipe for big belly.
So Wendy, my living pattern is very bad then, because when I get out of here, even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, I still eat. I eat anytime. Is that a bad practice?
It
It has not
is.
affected me. I don't think it have affected me, but I eat at any time.
The thing
1 o'clock,
is,
2 o'clock.
our body is like an engine, and if the manufacturer gives you instructions on how it should run.
Yeah.
If Toyota tells you that this is a diesel vehicle and you're supposed to put diesel in it, will you take gas and put it in
No,
it?
it wouldn't work.
No, it wouldn't work. And so
Yeah.
what we're doing, we're breaking down our system. We're breaking down our vital force when we do that. The body, your hormones, certain hormones switch off when it's night. And certain things in your body is not as efficient. It does not take place in the evening.
Okay.
The evening time, it's the time that you rest. Melatonin kicks in. Your body is supposed to begin to repair. But how can the body repair if it still has food in there to digest? You know, and over time doing that, the body is going to begin to break down. Right now, you're still strong. The organs and the mechanism of the body can still go,
Right.
but you're adding insult to it. Every day you add an insult to it. Very soon, it's not going to be able to handle it.
So one would say to you, what do you do for energy? If your food intake is not that much, what would you do for energy? Because you need energy, you need glucose in your body to sustain your
Yes,
body
we're not
with
saying
energy.
you don't do that, but you eat at certain times. The body likes regularity. Regularity. So if you have a schedule that you eat on that. By right, well, for me personally, and for the way that we do it with the medical missionaries, what we advise people to do is, if you are going to eat dinner, you eat a light meal, your lightest meal. You eat breakfast as a king, lunch as a what's it, the
Peasant.
It wasn't a peasant, as a prince. Yes, lunch as a prince and dinner as a pauper. That is the rule of thumb. Because when you wake up in the morning, your body, you have energy, you have vital force, you can break down those carbs, you could break down the things that the body is ingesting. But when it comes to the night, when you eat and you go and you lay down and you're sleeping, everything just stays there. And after a while, it begins to petrify. Then you know what comes out of you is not going to be very pleasant in the smell. Because this stays there, it's rotting.
Right.
It's not digesting. And then after a while, your blood becomes poisoned, you know?
Really?
Yes, yes. You're poisoning your blood because that food stays in your system too long.
Oh boy, you're getting me scared.
No, that is the thing. You see, Champagne,
Because I eat at any
it's not a very
good.
good habit. And my
Yeah.
thing is, you can talk to a dietitian, you can talk to your doctor, and then you can just research. For me, I've always had health at the back of my mind. And at the back of my mind, like, I knew a lot of things. That doesn't necessarily mean I did it, but I knew of what to do. But I think for a lot of us St. Lucians, COVID has allowed us to see that our greatest asset is our health.
Yeah, but I don't gobble a lot of food. I don't eat. I eat small portions of food, but I eat at any given time.
No.
So is that still a problem?
The body wants regularity. Our body works on a circadian rhythm with our hormones, with the way, at the times that things happen in the body. The same way you eat, if you eat at regular times, it's better for your body.
So what
Because
is your cutoff point of eating on a nightly basis? What time do you eat, and after that you don't eat until next day? What time is it?
Between 5 and 6.
From 5 o'clock until next day?
Yes.
Boy, I would be dead in the middle of the night.
Between 5 and 6.
I would be a goner in the middle of the
But
night.
after a couple days, because you've trained your body that way, and that's why it's so difficult for you to change. But it happens. It can happen.
How much time would it take for that discipline to kick in? If let's assume someone like myself, I say, okay, tomorrow I'm having my final my dinner at 6 until next morning. How much time would it take me to get used to that kind of eating habit?
Well, for me, I have an addictive personality, so I need to do the 21 days. If I don't do the 21 days, I'm going right back. But some people, it takes them about 2 weeks. Your taste begins to change. Because if you're used to eating at maybe 11 o'clock in the night, every night at 11 o'clock, your body is going to start to crave it.
Yes.
You
Yes,
know?
yes.
Now, if you continue to, you start denying it, very soon that urge that you have to eat at that time is going to go away, especially if you feed yourself maybe at 6 o'clock in the evening and you don't feed yourself again. And by that time, you should be sleeping by that time.
Yeah,
anyway.
right, exactly.
So maybe that's why you are hungry and you want to
Probably.
eat.
There may be a little discomfort though. Your body might not,
You drink water.
Yeah.
You drink water. You fill your stomach with water and you go to sleep. Now, I know that's hard for a lot of people.
It's going to be a little difficult.
But just for me, it's a lot of small changes. Small changes. Now, I will come to somebody and I will say, okay, I don't think that eating red meat is the best thing for you. That might be difficult. That might be difficult for somebody else. But for me, it's easy. I was able to get off red meat just like that.
Yes.
But other things, like for me, I'd like to get off bread. But hey, every time I see bread, I'm just so happy about
St.
bread.
Lucia, we are speaking tonight with Dr. Wendy Joseph, and this is not the program as normal. We are dealing with some nutrition here tonight, which is very, very inspiring, very, very interesting. And I did some things I didn't know because I eat at any time. So I'm really happy that the information that has been given here tonight is
So,
very
so
welcome.
Champagne, I am an example of what we are discussing here tonight. My main meal was dinner. If I reach home, when I lived alone, if it was 10 o'clock in the night and I felt like cooking food, I would cook a pan of food
It doesn't matter
for me
what
to
time.
eat. It did not matter.
Yeah.
I had to eat at night.
Right.
And I could not imagine, I mean, I used to eat 3, 4, 5 meals a day. I was weighing 184 pounds.
Oh, that would make you overweight for your height.
Now,
Yeah.
this morning when I weighed, I was 164.6.
Wow. Wow.
And
That's a
I do
20-pound
one
job.
meal a day. My area of where I have not been consistent is with my exercise. I have not been exercising. So what I've been able to control is just with how I
Eating
eat.
process. Yeah. Yeah.
And up to today, I was telling my colleagues, I eat one meal a day.
So you just got started with this program, or you? how
No,
long
no,
ago?
it's been a little while that
Okay.
we've been like that.
But we're not saying that everybody should eat one meal a day. It's not for everybody. And when you're starting off, it's not. You may not be able to do that because the body is not used to it. But if you, like I said before, if you make breakfast your most important meal, your biggest meal, that is what breaks the fast, and you make it as nutritious as possible. Then you're able to make your lunch a little smaller. And of course, in between, drinking water. Because that water will kind of satiate you.
Wow.
And then for dinner, if you have dinner at all, you have it as light, just something light.
So what is your one meal? Is
Lunch.
it lunch? Is it
Yeah.
lunch? Yeah. So
General. Now, that doesn't mean, I mean, there are occasions that I would eat. But I've found that since I've gone on that routine, whenever I eat at night, it becomes more of a problem for me
Wow.
than if I don't eat. And I am highlighting that as being in government. All prior to COVID, all of your functions, dinner here,
Yeah.
dinner there, the kind of things you have to be eating all the time,
Yeah.
it becomes unhealthy. I mean, for me, alcohol is a no-no.
Well, that's for
I
me as
don't
well.
taste it, whether it's champagne,
Yeah.
whether it's wine,
Right.
whether it's a beer, whatever it is. Zero alcohol. Whatever alcohol that's in my system would be what you get from fruits or whatever else that has
Maybe
fruits
some,
have alcohol
some
in it.
grapes, yeah, some grapes. Grapes might have a little something, maybe.
I don't know if it's fermented or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But, I mean, sometimes people find it difficult. I go anywhere, I take my toast with a glass of water, a glass of orange juice, or something. And I don't feel out of place, because all of us must have a measure of discipline in how we do things and why we do the things that we do. And I tell people, if we get, and the biggest challenge we've had as a government is the closure of bars and the ban on alcohol for the period.
Yeah.
People not so worried about food and about anything else. People are more worried about the alcohol. And I'm saying that if as a society we get to the point where abstinence from alcohol for a 2-week period is such a big problem, then our future is not looking good in terms of the outcomes that we are expecting.
Sure. It is true.
You want to come in there?
No, I'm just, to me, it goes without saying. When sometimes you have to be in between a rock and a hard place to really see where you are and what's happening. I think that is what COVID has done for a lot of us. Well, not us. I mean, I kind of knew of it before, but it sort of like drove it home, that, hey, there was a time when you have some money in your purse, you're sick, you can't access the doctor, so your money doesn't make sense, So what could we have done? Maybe all along we could have been proactive. Maybe all along we could have been taking care of our systems, because we don't appreciate our system until it breaks down. When I was 15, who cares about my system?
Yeah.
When I was 18, who cares about my system? But from the time your body starts to give you signs and signals that you are not invincible, that that chocolate does have it could have a negative effect on you. When you start seeing things as you get older, then you begin to take stock. But for me, my admonition is, even the younger ones, you see what's happening, jump on the bandwagon. Begin to focus on your health. Begin to go out, exercise. There's a time exercise was like a fad. Everybody's doing it. They're wearing the best gym wear and whatever. No, you go on the road and you just walk in the sun, getting your vitamin D, not having to take any supplements.
We have a mammoth task on our hand to try to get our people disciplined, especially particularly with the alcohol. It is something really terrible for St. Lucia. I could tell you that. Even when the ban was placed on the liquor shops, the little cabarets, as we say, the guys still sat outside of those bars. Yeah. They still sat there.
Yeah.
Hoping that someone is going to open the store illegally, if you will.
Well, you also have to understand
we have a problem.
That some of those guys are probably addicted.
They are.
And so it might be difficult for them to stay away from it, because they've had a habit of consuming for so long that their body is not able to do without it.
So what do you do as a people, as a government? You just cannot just ban the sales of alcohol because...
No, I don't think... Champagne, the issue that we are highlighting here is that we need to take a certain measure of responsibility for our own well-being. There are things that the doctors will not be able to fix. There are things that the best medical systems in the world will not be able to fix. You look at the billionaires who have died. You look at Jufali. What did he die with? You think if money could have saved his life, that he would have... Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs, yeah, on Microsoft.
No matter what it is. So all of us have a time. No matter how healthy we are, we will die one day.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's the pain and the suffering that comes with it. And it's just basic things that we are required to do, and that is what we are highlighting. So we'll move a little away from the health discussion and go into some of the more political things in terms of managing. And I am sure you've always said you would have some questions. I mean, how we cope, how we deal with... Some people think that I'm very difficult to live with or to deal with, because I guess the image that they see, what is highlighted in Parliament and what is highlighted in the media and what is highlighted maybe on a platform. I love debates. I love arguments. I love to be part of this thing.
But Mr. Minister, the people have to be reminded at all times what our country is faced with and what was it faced with the Labour Party. It's an actual fact. We cannot get away from it. So when you, in the House of Parliament or on a political platform or in here, bring us the evidence with those books, with what was said, what was signed, these are things that the people of St. Lucia need to know.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to hold these things back.
No, I agree with that. But the point I wanted to highlight, and my wife is here and she has a mind of her own. People have accused us of a lot of things in the past. This is a lady who has always worked for more money than I have.
Well, now, you didn't have to tell everybody.
So I'm just saying, it's easy for people to look at you and label you. And I've not come across a more honest person in my life than my wife. And I'm not saying that just because she's here.
No,
and people will tell you, oh, you can come on TV and you can say that because that's what you want people to believe. The fact of the matter is that is who I live with every day. There's no pretense in our relationship, in how we get along, and people will figure out, my money is, more of my money is spent on the constituency than it is spent on her. In fact, she spends more on me.
I want to ask you something though, and now you said that your wife is not involved with politics. Well, maybe she is now with the constituency having events there, but she was never involved as a politician. And because the target, some people have targeted you and said all kinds of allegations level at you, but they have brought your wife now into the equation. How did that make you feel the first time it came out?
She will speak for herself. I could handle that, but I felt for her because she never wanted to be in the public domain. So she's here, and I can say that. She was not allowed to wear my UWP t-shirt when I ran for elections the first time. You know why? Because she was a teacher.
Okay.
She was working with the government. And I told her, you cannot wear the t-shirt. She would wear a regular yellow shirt. She would not wear a UWP t-shirt.
The logo,
I remember when she resigned, and the first time that she was going to wear my UWP t-shirt for Castries Southeast, she said, now I can wear
what I want.
the shirt that I always wanted to wear. You know why? Because I tell people, I don't play by double standards. If I know that this is not what it should be, how can I ask you or encourage you to do it because you close to me, and somebody else, I will condemn that person for doing it? I do not operate that way. And that is my biggest critic. The day I make a mistake, now, her English is 10 times better than mine. So, we develop bad habits as children growing up. We used to deliberately speak bad English.
Really?
Yes. Kids in the community, so you want to sound funny, so you would say things that is not the proper English. And there are some things in English that sometimes I would be writing a speech and I have to pick up the phone and call her and ask her, okay, so what's the correct thing that I have to say here?
Which is great. That is good. That is the relationship.
I mean, she's been a teacher. Can you believe that she taught kindergarten? I used to wonder. I tell her, how are you managing with 20, 30 little children coming to school to teach them the alphabet, and in 1 year for them to come out of kindergarten and, well, at that time it used to be stage 1 when she started teaching. And then and I think that's the area of teaching she enjoyed the most. She taught at the secondary school level, and then she taught at the university level.
We need to give her the bell on that. We always give the bell for great accomplishments.
I said that,
we always give
and it's
bell.
important. It's not coming on being boastful. It's not about putting our business. Everybody think they know our business. And so they put out what they want to put out. And even when you tell them the truth, they will still. Champagne, before I came into government, you can go and check the records at the Ministry of Transport. I had about 12 vehicles before I came into government, between trucks, buses, private vehicles.
I remember you.
When I came into government, I had 2 vehicles. Everybody was accusing me. La gouvernement where machine can drive but they forgot what you had before. And that's why I'm saying she is sitting here today. When I was earning in government as a minister, she was making much more than my salary.
Okay, I'm going to hold that thought. I'm going to hold that thought.
I love what the minister is doing because he's been outspoken about it. That's why he brought you here, because before you came here, we have had several shows before, and you have always talked about you on the program. I know you must have heard him, and he's not ashamed to say what he's saying tonight, and he's letting the entire world know, like he said, people know your business more than your...
No, what I was thinking is that, okay, so you're going to say that, and now everybody's going to think that, I have so much, and then I'm supposed to give so much.
Well... I don't know how we're going to deal with that one then. But it's just been real.
No, that's the reality. So if people see that we accomplish something in our lives, none of us don't drink, we don't gamble, we invest, we do things together. Whatever we plan, whatever we organize, we have no kids, so we can afford to do certain things for ourselves. But everybody want to label you, and everybody want to brand you, and everybody want to say all kinds of things about you. But that is the point I'm making. Even with my increase in salary as a minister of government, she still earns more money than me.
I'm happy. She doesn't want you to say that, but that is a good thing to say. She doesn't want you to say that. But maybe, I don't know. She has a problem with you saying that. So.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, let me go over to Mrs. Joseph. Mrs. Joseph, all of what has been leveled at you and your husband, did you ever have any sleepless nights when it first started? When you heard, I remember the college incident. You remember the college incident a few years ago. How did that make you feel? Did you have any sleepless nights, or you were a tough person and said, it's going to go away?
Initially, it kind of shocked me. I was like, really? I mean, can somebody be that stupid? To just, because somebody, it's like, I'm thinking, you've heard something, and then it's just like a wind, and it becomes the truth.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's how it happens? Yeah. And so before that, it was all work, it was all, determination. I had all of that. But I'd never had the opportunity to experience that sort of, I'm looking for a word to describe it. Just accusations leveled at you, and you have no idea what they're talking about. But very shortly through it all, and I look back at it right now, and I'm thankful for it. Because you know what it did? It allowed me to develop a thick skin.
Right.
Oh my goodness, let me tell you.
But
this
because of your
skin was
husband,
not thick, but now it is.
Because of your husband being involved with the politics, did you have an expectation, though, ahead of time?
I did. I expected that, and not just a politician. this politician.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
this politician is extremely vocal.
That is the point.
And
That
as
is
much
it.
as he receives, he can
He
throw.
exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
So it's not
Yes.
like, so I knew, I mean, this is the person that I've known for many years.
Yeah.
This is how he is.
Right.
He is not the type of person to he's not going to drink what you tell him just because it's drinkable.
Because, exactly.
You know, he will take it, he will digest it. And what I always liked about him, and it could be a flaw, and it can also be an asset, is that he likes to play the devil's advocate. He likes to think outside of the box. And for some people, that's irritating. But for me, as a professional, that is what you're looking for.
Right.
You're looking for,
You're
when I
looking for the
teach, I'm
challenge.
looking to have children to learn to think outside of the box and not to be, regurgitators, not to be mirrors of other men's thoughts.
You're looking for the challenge.
Of course,
All of the
course.
challenges.
And a lot of, in education, a lot of times they're teaching us to just be reflectors, to be mirrors of what other persons have said and what other persons have taught. But I've always liked the fact that he's not like that. So he comes across as being, sometimes as being disagreeable, but that's not what it is. It is that he doesn't follow group think.
Yeah.
So you're sitting in a meeting and everybody is there and one person has a suggestion and everybody, like sheep, yes. No.
Is there ever a time...
Somebody has to think outside of the box.
That is right.
Of course.
Is there
Of
ever a
course.
time that you're afraid for his life? Is there ever a time it runs through your mind? Any?
I have a God.
Yes.
I have a God. And even when that fear might want to creep in, man, I have a God. And that God, listen, he's powerful. I can sit and talk to you all night about him if you want me to.
Yeah.
So no. Like I said, when the thought creeps in, I know exactly how to
Because
handle it.
the reason why I ask you that, I've been around a little bit, and I know there are some politicians that are afraid for their lives. Even
Okay.
if they're involved with government, in opposition, they are afraid.
And I can understand why.
And you can understand
Yes,
that. So,
yes.
so most of them sometimes stay quiet. They don't want to be outspoken before
Yes.
somebody comes after them. This man has been outspoken from inception, from day one. And this is why I ask you that. This is why I ask you the question. I'm certainly sure it must have run through your mind maybe once in a little while. But kisa guide la jodia, where you baga even there. You know that kind of thing. So this is why I ask you that. And you know the politics, the environment we're in St. Lucia's politics.
Sometimes I ask him, was that necessary? Did you have to say that? Did you have to say it like that? Because maybe the way he says it, I probably would not. I think I probably have a little bit more...
Finesse.
Okay, maybe finesse. Finesse in the way I'd say something. But the truth is the truth.
Yeah.
And he went into politics not for good looks. It was because he thought that he could make a difference.
Yes, you said that.
And if making a difference means speaking his mind, then it is what it is. As opposed to just sitting there and being fearful and hiding behind other people and hiding behind shadows. It doesn't make sense to be there.
I have said to people, a lot of, particularly UWP people, if this man had the means, and I've said it to them, and they will tell you one of these days, Champagne Hadi Masa, if this man had the means to help out every solution, I know he would have done it. I know that for a fact.
Yep.
But sometimes it's not possible.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
And the strange thing, okay, maybe I should hold
Let me
I
ask
should
you the
hold
same
my
question,
my
Mr. Minister.
comment.
I asked your wife, is there ever a time that you're afraid for your own life, based on some statements you make, on the political platform, in the House of Parliament, anywhere?
I am never really worried. I am more concerned for the well-being of my family than I am for me. Because I guess with the mentality that I have is that I can deal with that. But I wish that every accusation that has been leveled at her was at me instead, and she was left out of the equation.
Yeah.
Because she's not deserving.
Yeah.
And she will tell you, I don't burden her with anything that goes on in government. She has very little knowledge of the inside runnings of anything pertaining to government.
Right.
You see, when I took my oath of office, and I know that what goes on I cannot discuss out there, and she does not question me. If I choose to tell her something, I would tell her. There would be things that's in the media she knows nothing about. Because I respect, I did not want to be in politics, Champagne. I never started out with the intention of being in politics. I tried to push everybody else into the politics and to support them. When Sir John asked me to run, I said to Sir John, I don't want to. Barbara can tell you that, Spider's wife, can tell you how many months she was speaking to me and trying to encourage me to come in. This is not somewhere where I wanted to be. I was making a comfortable living outside of politics. That's the sad part of it. And you come in and you give of your best. You see, these days they have people going around and begging for a chance, as if St. Lucia is some lottery, or as if SITS is something that you know you want to take a chance.
Like a turn.
It's either you have it or you don't have it.
It's true.
And the people who make the best politicians, the people who make the best workers, are sometimes the people who never had, you know, they didn't push themselves. So if you have a club, you see the man who is pushing to be president, he's more concerned about the title than he is about the work. So he wants to be that person. Whereas the true worker will work in the background. I tell them, people always are saying, oh, you want to be... I tell them, I don't want to be prime minister. If Wendy had her way, I would have left politics a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
I said the cat.
So when people think, and this is not, I told her, look here.
But Mr. Minister, let me interject, sorry. Being a politician, for me, is not something that's so bad. Being a bad politician is what's bad, because God has placed you with an opportunity to help other people. Isn't that a fact?
There's nothing bad with my politics or with politics.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, I say people only give what they have. At the end of the day, if you are crooked, when you come into politics, politics will not get you straight.
That's true.
And that's why I tell them they can carry all of their investigations, everything. And that's why I've raised that matter. I want them to release in the Parliament of St. Lucia the Linguist report, because the level of investigation that have gone on pertaining to me, and up to a day like today, nobody can come. All that you have about me is accusations. Then they have accused Wendy of things that, if she has done anything, she pays the bill so that I can do more for my constituents. So I don't have to pay the bills at home. She pays the bills. She does the things that needs to be done. Now people will tell you, oh, but that's your home business. Why? Because y'all have made us the subject of discussion. What we do, how we do it. I mean, the amount of things that they have given me. You know what she usually tells me? If 1% of everything they say that is yours was yours, we would never have to worry about anything for the rest of our lives. But that, you see, and that's why politics is not attracting the best people. Because when you come in and this is what you have to put up with. So you are telling me that's the first person whose wife has been... What has my wife benefited from me being in government? She does not have a government job. She's overly qualified, with 2 masters, a PhD, and a bachelor's degree, and many years of experience. You know, if she gets a job in St. Lucia, what happens? She gets a job because Guy is her husband.
Yep.
Yeah.
To serve on the Teaching Service Commission, that became a subject where you basically giving voluntary service. So you are telling me that because, and I see other politicians' wives who benefit tremendously from what government does.
Yeah.
And
Our
what
little
government.
code.
But at the end of the day, like she said, it's because it's Guy Joseph. So people make it an issue. But you know what I admire about the constituency that I belong to? And that is why I would not trade Castries Southeast for anywhere else. You know, the people in my constituency, they don't have an issue. They respect and regard very highly the work that is being done. When I have young people who want a job, prior to COVID, when they would take her own time and come in, do the mock interviews with them, prepare them, coach them, do all of the necessary things, prepare them so that when they go for a job interview, she would do the pre-screening, find out, guide them on their dress code, how to present themselves, and all of these things she would be doing to help the cause of the constituency. A lot of people, when they cannot get me, if they get her number, they would call her, they would tell her, look here, you need to tell your husband this, tell your husband that. I mean, she's been a tower of strength and support for me. Because remember, when you take all the pressures out there, you deal with all of the things that pertain to you. When you go home, that's the person that you have to go to.
Yeah.
You don't have, and I mean, I don't know, I've said that maybe. A lot of people try to imagine, maybe I will let her speak to that one. But we've never had a quarrel.
Wow,
Not during the years of courtship. And we've known each other for more than 20 years.
That's a great relationship. Beautiful.
We've never had a quarrel. We don't have arguments. We don't have back and forth to say, I cannot recall being vexed for an hour or 2 hours and we in the same house.
It's just not our style. I think
that
it's not that we don't have
little issues
issues
Yes.
and stuff to be upset about,
Yes.
but I think it's just our style. For me, it's my personality. I
Right.
don't quarrel.
Exactly.
One time I tried quarreling, I tremble. I just.
I know a lot of guys listening to the program say they want to clone you because of the
And he a lot
quarrels that certain
for
people have.
himself. People hear him out there,
Yeah.
but he does not. He does raise his voice. He does not quarrel
Yeah.
at home. He does
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And let's go back to what we spoke about earlier. When you have somebody coming from work all day, it's, in your ears, in your head, the stresses of things you have to deal with.
Yeah.
When he comes to his home in Forestier, that we call a Lemon, which is
Lemon.
where we live.
Yes,
A
beautiful
Lemon,
place.
and not Cap Estate.
Beautiful
Although
place.
if somebody has a house in Cap Estate, I'd love to have it.
Beautiful place.
But that's because we said that we live in Cap Estate. We live in Forest State
I've been
because
there.
now we have nice road and all
Oh,
of that, and
yeah.
we're so thankful.
Beautiful place.
Anyway, that's in passing.
Beautiful
When
place.
when he comes to his house, he cannot have any more of this yang. It's supposed to be his sanctuary,
Yeah,
and you
relax.
get strength and you rejuvenated for the next day.
Yeah.
Because how much can one person take?
Because as politicians, we are still human beings.
Yes,
You still
exactly.
have to put up with all of the stresses and everything that goes on in everyday life. The number of phone calls that come for the day. The day do not have
in the
enough hours if you have to answer every phone call.
If I get by and large the money.
And when you try and tell people it is not easy, it is not humanly possible. And that is where my source of strength and encouragement comes from. So I am never sad to go home.
Yeah. Let me put you on the spot, Mr. Minister. How many more years you think you have in politics? Or are you going to continue to be in politics until the people, I remember you said it here before, until the people say, you know what, we don't want Guy Joseph anymore. But for you personally, how many more years you think you have in politics?
I'd love to hear that, Champion.
You like that response?
What I want to say is, you know, I love the people of Castries Southeast.
Yeah.
There's a certain joy and satisfaction that comes with being able to do what the people need for them.
Yeah.
I believe that I am not one who put time frames for anything. I said I do not want to get old and die as a politician. You can only give 100% for a period of time.
While you're involved with
And once I feel that I cannot give 100%, I will make my exit. Okay. That is if the people don't tell me before that time, we've had enough of you. And I am very open to what the people want. I am not one who's going to fuss and fight and think that the people must elect you.
Right.
Like a certain president we know about.
Yeah.
Whose name we will not mention.
Not exactly.
People can like you because that's politics. You're the best person today, and tomorrow you can be the worst person in their book. I treasure every opportunity I've had to serve my community, my constituency, and my country. And I want it to be that way. If it gets to the point where the people say, we're not getting rid of you, and I feel I cannot give them my best, I will go to them and I will say to them, I think it is my time to exit. But as to tell you it's a year, it's 2 years, it's 5 years, it's 10 years, she's been at me to give her a time.
Wow.
So don't think
if you're not giving it to her, it's not me you're going to give it to.
Don't think that the question has not come up.
Asked. Yes.
She's asked me.
Yeah.
My mother have told me several times, moi hadou kite ba isa bat misey. Ese ou yon ki politician an Saint-Lucie, that tous les jours, tout moun, c'est où.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would have had a problem if what they were saying about me was true. And that's the part of me that people don't understand. You see all the lies the Labour Party says about me, all the pictures they want to paint about me stealing. If I steal, it must be somewhere. They can go and check all my family.
It's either you're a good stealer or you're very smart.
No, it's not difficult. Both of us have to declare to Integrity Commission what we have. Everybody knows my family. Everybody knows. We grow up in a community. I've never changed my place of residence. Yet still people want to say, I mean, when we heard we were living in Cap Estate, we heard that like everybody else.
I'm claiming it in Jesus' name. If I live in Cap Estate, I'm going to claim it in Jesus' name. I will have a house in
But I'll say something. I've been to your home on several occasions, and I would love to be living where you do live. You have that beautiful view of Mount Jimmy. You have that beautiful breeze coming in at all times. I would not trade there with Cap Estate for a minute. Never.
It's beautiful.
No, if you pay me to live Grosile, I don't want to live there. Everybody have where they love. I love Forest here.
It's beautiful.
That's where I grew up. That's where I was born. Unfortunately, I have to take her out from Babono and bring her to Forest.
Babono is nice.
Babono is lovely.
Nice. Beautiful area.
So, but I want people to understand that my politics is genuine. I don't pretend that I care about people. For me, I don't want to pretend with people for me to get their vote. If I cannot be genuine about what I'm doing, then I'm not going to do it. My value system does not allow me. And I know the Labour Party wants to get at me, and they would do as much as they can.
They want to get you. They want to get you bad.
One of the issues, and we did not even have a point of argument on this, or discussion, or disagreement, was when nomination fell on a Saturday.
Yes, I remember that.
She knows. I was at the meeting, and I said, I think I don't know if you were at that meeting, the party meeting.
I was there.
And other people from my church was saying to me, but it's just one day, just a few hours, God will understand.
And you said no.
I said, never.
Yes.
I said, find somebody else to run the seat.
That's right.
And you know, I'm learning. Not too long ago, I learned that the election date was deliberately set
up that way.
That way. Just so that I could be out of the equation. And there are other people who come and claim. Now, that doesn't make me a better person than other people. So I don't ever want people to interpret that because I did not go and nominate on a Saturday, there may be other things that I do that other people don't do. So I'm not putting myself in a bracket. But as a Seventh-day Adventist, there are certain value systems. There are certain things that we stand for. There are certain things that identifies us. And one of them is the observance of Sabbath.
Mr. Minister,
and allow me to say, no matter what anybody would tell me, there are people who have left the Adventist church. They would be out there. They're living in a house with somebody. They're not married. They drink. They do everything. They live anyhow. But don't ask them to work on a Saturday. They will not. Now, that doesn't mean that they are better than other people. But there are certain value systems. And I could not ask people in my family to do one thing. And I've said it in Parliament, and I will say it here. Because when my niece, we had paid for school for her, I didn't dream of being in government. She went to Plattsburgh University in upstate New York. And she had an exam to do on a Saturday. And she called me. And she said, that's the only day she has to do the exam. So I tell her, but you cannot do the exam on a Saturday.
Wow.
That's what we've stood for. That's how we've lived. These are the value systems by which, if God cannot deliver you from that, then what is it? She said, but there's no other way. I tell her, you know what? Write to the school and tell them you cannot do it. And she did, and they allowed her to do the exam on another day. Wow. It was a state exam that she had to do.
Yes.
And then, so when my turn came now, my turn is you're going to be elected as a member of Parliament. You've served the term, your next term is coming up, you'll qualify for your pension if you win that. A lot was riding on it.
Yes.
It was not just, and I was willing. And I'd made up my mind. There's nothing that would make me go and get nominated on that day. Because for me, if I had done that, I was betraying everything that God had done for me before. And so I said I wasn't doing it. And I did not do it. They tell me, oh, but people nominated you in absentia. Yes, because that could have been done. And the branch took it on their own. They said, we are going to go and nominate you. The only way it could have happened, I had to be out of the island. So I left the island so that it could have happened. And I am saying this to make a point. I am not in this thing, and it's not by accident that I did not do anything to be caught in government. It's not by accident that, because I didn't know anything about government. All my life was in private sector. You run elections, they give you a ministry. No orientation, nothing. Nobody to tell you that's how to do it and that's how. You just put into a ministry and you have a whole department of government on your account with one of the biggest budgets to run the affairs of that department. You think it's because I'm brighter than everybody or I'm smarter than everybody?
You know, that's interesting. How did you do it for your first time? If you want to run us through it really quickly. Your first time you got into your very first ministry in 2006, how did you manage?
You learn on the job.
Well, a lot of people do.
And every mistake you made would be costly. The mistakes you would make would either, it could break you, it could destroy you permanently. But you see, you have to have a value system by which you operate. So I say politics don't make people corrupt. If you have corruption in you already, politics gives you a greater opportunity to be more corrupt.
I believe that.
But if you're not corrupt, if you have a value system by which you operate, once you come in there, and she's a writer, she's a publisher, she has published books, books that are used in universities. I've told her, I need to write a book. I need to write a book about my own experiences, about what has transpired. Because the things that I have been offered in government, that I have not taken. And don't think all politicians get offered things. Don't think we don't get offers. It is what is your value system and what you are willing to do and what you are not willing to do. And that's why I tell them, I don't make deals with people. The only people I can make deal with is the people I represent. And so I don't owe no businessman nothing in St. Lucia. I don't owe no contractor nothing. You know what? The people I owe are the people who vote for me in Castries Southeast. That is where my loyalty is to these people.
And what you owe them is a better way of living.
And that is what I work to do every single day for them. And I have a wife here. I would never do things to embarrass her. I have brothers and sisters. I would not do things to embarrass them. So yes, we are accused of a lot of things. She is accused in the process.
I could imagine her and your mother speaking to another friend of hers saying, Moza, last iti boila, kite bagay sala, finye bagay.
Most times when I go and visit her, she would tell me, Mohadu, kite bagay sa bak mi say, kite sa.
Why do you think you say that, Mr. Minister?
Because you would have to understand that a mother listening to these things, I cannot imagine. For me, that's nothing. But I know for them, it affects them more than it affects me. And you know, they make songs and they say this and they say that. And you see the people who do that. These are the people who make the most deals in government, you know. Some of them get paid to come into government. Some of them get paid to leave. Some of them get paid by the government and they get paid by other people. But they want to look at me. I can tell them, nobody owns me. Because anything they have to offer, you can keep your stuff. And that's why I said it's only in a book I can write it. I can write the things that have, because it is not appropriate for me to come on a program and say this. And people will tell you, oh, c'est ça ou di because c'est ça nous pas savent ça ou fait. They said I had a farm in Canada. They said I had some relative who died.
I claim it. I claim it. In the name of Jesus, I claim it. So if there's a farm in Canada in our future, brother, I'm looking forward to it.
Imagine, up to now, I don't even have a visa for Canada. Even as a minister of government.
We should work on it.
I don't have a, because I'm just saying to you, but people choose to say all of these things. One time I said, oh, if I could open 10 schools for my wife, I would. She's an educator by profession. Through her hard work, a university was established in St. Lucia. And you see, when we work against ourselves as a country, so here's what happened. more than maybe 80-something people graduated overall with degrees. Over 100 at bachelor's and master's level. None of these people, the government didn't have to give them study leave with pay for them to go overseas and study, because the school was established right here and they had a flexible program that allowed them to come to class after the regular teaching hours or the regular work hours. But you see, we work against ourselves. So right now, for you to go to Lynchburg College, which offers special tuition rates, I mean, you could get a master's degree for about 30,000 EC dollars with one of the highest accredited schools in the US. But you know what? They figure out that there's something to benefit and somebody's getting some benefit from this. And so you get the fight. And when the people looked at running the school here, they said, look here, it is costing us more to run the school in St. Lucia than we are making. And then you want to bring the school into disrepute, a school with such an impeccable reputation. You think I could ever own a Lynchburg College?
The school is actually 100 years old.
Wow.
Well, no, right now it's 106, thereabout years old.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I am not even
It was
100.
established in 1903.
1901.
19
Either 1901 or 1903.
Yeah.
We were not
but
born at that
nevertheless,
time.
that's over 100 years.
We were not
Yeah.
born yet.
You understand? And this is a school that does not operate for profit. It's a not-for-profit entity in the US. And then we had that school operating here, and people want to talk. And I mean, you think the two of us could own a school? And anybody can go and Google the level of accreditation. She was the one who sat with the people when the school came to be accredited. People don't even fully understand what accreditation is in St. Lucia. They think that because you get a license to operate a school, it's the same as accreditation.
No.
Maybe you can just highlight a little
Yes,
bit
yes,
about accreditation.
Doctor, give us, inspire us tonight. Give us some education.
Okay, so when you look to get an institution or a program accredited, it's not just somebody getting a license in hand. There are standards that you're supposed to meet. And a lot of times in the US, those standards are extremely rigorous.
Wow.
For example, when Lynchburg College was to be, yes, the college was already accredited in the US, but they had to accredit this offshore location. So and it's not being done by the school itself. It's from outside entities. So those entities come in, they have to come in. Of course, you have to pay their lodging, you have to pay their food and everything, and they're there, and they're not asking you questions. They have a set of policies that they are going to follow, well, rules, regulations that they need to check off, and they observe for themselves. They speak with the students, they speak with the faculty, and at the end of the day, they decide whether you've met the standard that they're looking for to offer X amount of programs within the country. So it wasn't St. Lucia accrediting the body. It was a U.S. accrediting body that came to St. Lucia to accredit the institution in St. Lucia. And if they did not pass, they could not operate.
Oh, I see.
You see?
I see.
So, and that is what that's what accreditation is all about. It's not just, okay, I've come in and I'm giving you here, this is a license to operate. It's quite different. It's quite rigorous, the standards that you're supposed to meet.
So can you share with St. Lucia? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Can you tell us the main reason why the school was shut down or closed or withdrawn?
Well,
Minister just
that's
told us
exactly what it is. This is
Okay.
exactly what happened.
They figured they were not.
Yes. So what happened right now is that a lot of the programs that were offered in St. Lucia are now offered online. And so students don't have to leave St. Lucia and go to the US, which would be costly for them to do that. They've opened up their offerings in the Indian market and the Chinese market as well. And so everybody, it's like you have an equal opportunity to study with that college without leaving home. And so it doesn't really make sense now to have a brick and mortar when you can get those programs online.
Okay. If you were made an offer to be the dean of this university, so half a college on the month. Would you accept?
No, no.
Is it because is it based on money, or is it, or you just don't want to get involved with the controversy, saying that you got it because you're the minister's wife? Is that what it is?
That is not a direction that I'd like to go in my life right
All right,
now.
understand.
You know, yes.
All right,
yes.
I understand.
I have other plans.
I understand.
Yes.
All right. Well, all right, so well, tonight we have taken a lot of time and we're having a beautiful program. Mr. Minister, can we open the lines? Or
yeah, you
are
can
we
open
taking
the
calls?
lines. Yeah,
it's
we
a
can
special
take a few
program.
calls. We can take
all
calls.
right, so we're going up to 10:30 as always.
Yes.
All right, so Sanusha, we're going to open up the lines. You could also call us on our WhatsApp number. It is 485-0931, but we do have a little issue with it, but you can still call me here, so I'm going to put it next to the microphone when you do call. 456-0931 is our landline number. If you'd like to call in and ask the minister or his wife any of what you have heard tonight concerning what you have heard tonight, as a matter in regards to nutrition, in regards to politics, whatever you'd like to ask, you could give us a call. Beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Good evening to you. Hello.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, Sparkling.
Yes, darling. How are you? Good evening.
I'm good. Good night, my favorite minister.
Good night.
How are you, Dudu?
I'm doing very well tonight. I'm doing much better than all the other nights because I have somebody very special sitting next to me.
Good night, Dr. Wendy Joseph.
Good night,
My
good night, good
favorite
evening to
minister
you.
Wife. Also his guardian angel.
Good evening.
How are you, lover?
Well, she's talking to you.
Oh, to me? Oh, I'm doing wonderfully by God's grace. Thank you so much for asking.
Okay. Here's my favorite minister wife.
Aha. Why is he your favorite minister?
Also his guardian angel.
I am. Okay.
Okay. So I just called to say good night. I wanted to be the first one.
All
Yeah.
right, thank you very much. You must
Okay,
tell me the
next thing.
secret for getting the
Welcome to
line.
Sky FM.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Okay, darling.
much. And have a great night yourself.
Same
All right.
to you, Dudu.
Okay, George Cooper. Beautiful.
You're jealous, Sparkling.
Okay, that's all right. All right, 456-0931 St. Lucia or 485-0931 is our number. You could call to ask the minister's wife. Anything to do with nutrition, she will be able to answer you on that regard. Hello, good evening.
Hello, Brother Champagne.
Good evening, sir.
Bonsoir, bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, Mr. Guy. Bonsoir, Madame.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Yeah. Brother Champagne.
Oui, Badna.
Où ça, oui, mais la madame nan bay la. Si tu es venu pour bay la, ou tu as dit madame nan, Hanis, oui, mais ça, homo.
Ou pas moi vin point. Oh, oui, Kelly, où qui là?
Moi, je suis venu pour bay la, tout ce oui, mais ça, ou tu as dit madame nan, ni, puis moi-même, oui, mais ça, en bouteille, moi.
Gasa, c'est juste ça, airport la pa ni rien, mais ça just descend like pas $100. So, moi, kay wa, nou kay wele moi descend.
Because, tu me dis,
Oui.
oui, mais là, ni, sorti, c'est papaye. Après, c'est d'avenigar, l'ail, le coco.
Maman.
Toute qualité, cannelle.
Oui.
Toute qualité, là, moi, je finis pour d'abord 2 semaines pour le code de protéger, pas moi.
Oui, ou te di moi ça, oui.
Oui, because, la madame l'a fini là, moi, je bouteille, moi, seul, madame, manière de au miel. So,
Ou kay wa moi, j'ai dit.
Faut manière vine point.
J'ai dit si Dieu voulait, ou kay wa moi.
Faut manière, c'est important.
Ok, Badna, moi content ça. So, sa madame nan te ka di la, tout ça y ka di c'est bail qui bon pour nous.
Mais moi, ni bouteille, moi.
Oui.
Moi, je sais, moi, manière de au miel.
Si au miel, oui.
So has it worked for anybody?
Oui, le cas pour moi, hein.
Ah, ça bon.
Pourquoi moi-même, la fait, ben, moun.
Okay,
Oui.
okay.
Oui.
Okay.
Oui.
Ça bon.
Moi, si c'est me dit ça, je n'ai pas la faire, ça, même ça, l'autre monde va aider.
Oui, Badna, merci à ça. J'ai dit si Dieu voulait.
Ah, ben, all right.
Okay, Badna, beautiful. Yes.
Good.
All right, and he has said to me that he has a special bottle for me. Beautiful evening to you. Hello. Hello, good evening.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Still mad with you, but I was just studying and I opened the Facebook and I saw this beautiful, articulate lady,
Yes.
and I'm very impressed. You know, I'm just an observer, so I'm going to make my show about her later tonight. But just want to say, Guys doing a good job coming there. And I have warned these people, you all need to explain to the public this is what you're doing. You all don't come out, they will spoil your name day in, day out. So great job, and I'm so impressed. Education, education, education. That is so important.
Yes.
Try and get a little bit more over here because people can figure things out for themselves. Not just what they hear on the news, what you say, what Christopher say, what. That's important. Someone at my office, but guy, you know the guy expects you like you, so I ain't gonna push you. You already know you win in your seat, so that's it.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful. 4560931 is our number. You could call into the program, or you could also call us on 485, our WhatsApp number, 456-485-0931. Beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Hello,
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Champagne.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
I want you to know this is past my bedtime,
It is, huh? Oh,
And I've
Mr.
been-
Wayne.
and I've
Mr. Wayne, I recognize the voice. How are you, sir?
and I've been calling and calling and calling. You seem to have no means of accepting any calls except at the official hour.
Oh, yeah. Well, at the moment, we had the lines all turned off. Our apologies on that. You should
Shame
have,
on you.
you should have told me you wanted to call earlier. I'd be happy to
How would I
reserve.
know? How would I know if I want to call you? I'm calling early. I'm calling tonight because I see you pull the heavy artillery out. That's why I'm calling. You pull out I'm real cool tonight.
Yes, yes.
The heavyweight.
The heavyweights are
All
there.
right, I'm done with you now.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yes.
I want to first of all address the minister. So, Guy, all this time, I'm figuring the lady was flawed by your good looks and your telegenic stuff and everything else. And tonight you confess to the whole world you married Wendy for her money. So, Guy, you married the lady for her money.
No, but I married her for a lot more than that. Now, Rick, I'm a bit disappointed. That's
Why
my
not?
17th program. And that's the first time you
Yeah.
call in, and it's because when the other program you call in.
You know that. That's not a secret. That wouldn't be a secret at all. But on a more serious note, I really was fascinated by what Wendy was saying about the medicals earlier on. Because most of what she said there, especially over the how you call it, over the basin with the steam thing, what do you call it?
Yeah, the mint. Was it mint, you
The mint,
said?
yeah.
Peppermint.
Yeah.
I've known that
Peppermint.
for quite a while.
Peppermint.
And she basically talked about what I would call old time medicine,
Yes.
but they never stopped being good for clearing your lungs and so on and so on. I'm a little surprised that she didn't talk about the Guiana-Barre because Guiana-Barre kills everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So we
Yeah,
see.
I didn't know you were so much into medicine, Wendy.
I am a medical missionary. So,
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know. My apologies again.
Well, that's
And
fine.
how can guys fast for 7 days?
How can...
Well, you see, she would not tell you, but she did for 14 days. I did 7. She did double the time that I did.
See, I like to use him as my guinea pig because I'm doing it and you're eating steak, you're eating all sorts of stuff. Like, do it too, and it's going to help you. So he did it. I was very happy, so it was a sort of source of moral support for me.
No,
Yeah.
but I always see the politics in it. So get ready tomorrow, guy, to hear your detractors telling you that you can afford to fast for 7 days, but they can't eat for 2 days. That is the politics we have right now. We have to be very, very careful about everything you say, and you got to say, and you have to explain it in advance because of what you anticipate. Are you guys hearing me at all?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
we are.
we are hearing you loud and clear, Rick. And you are very much on point. And that issue of the fasting happened about 2 years ago or more than that.
More than 2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 2 years ago. So,
But about the immune system, I mean, I want to say that seriously. It's very difficult to talk to you guys seriously, but I want to say seriously. I have never been sick in my 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, I have a bad back, okay? But I've never been sick in 100 years. I've also not had to take any doctor's medicine or anything like that. So I've been very lucky. And when people suggest things to me now, I say, well, whatever I've been doing has kept me fine right up to this minute, so why should I make changes?
Yeah,
Changes.
yeah.
Including, Wendy, that I should be drinking a lot more water than I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I've always drank water when I'm thirsty.
Right.
And I often wonder what people did before they had bottled water, so that everywhere they went, they took a sip of water,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up drinking water when I was thirsty.
Yeah.
Even when I was working out and I saw guys drinking bottles of water, I drank after I worked out. Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily the best thing to do,
Right.
because you can get dehydrated, you sweat, and so on. But my point is I've managed to get as far as this, never been sick, etc. I've also been very, very careful. Well, you know, my whole life is an exercise. I'm not doing so much now. And eating properly.
That's key. That is
So
key.
what happens to people with weak immune systems? And people with weak immune systems can't very well be undertaking fast. Would I be right on that?
I missed the last part. Weak immune systems would not be able
People
to
with
Fast.
poor immune systems, it wouldn't be advisable for them to go on any fasting.
That's a good question.
Fasting is not for everybody. For example, you know, like I wouldn't advise pregnant ladies to fast. I wouldn't advise, but there is merit in, for example, if somebody, and that is going against a lot of conventional wisdom. I say wisdom because it's conventional. But when you look back, according to what we believe as medical missionaries, there are times that the body is overtaxed, especially the digestive system, and you need to give it a rest. There are times, have you ever seen a dog? When a dog is ill, what is the first thing that the dog does?
Yeah, they nibble on herbs and stuff like that.
Yes,
sometimes.
and they fast.
Yeah.
They don't eat. You will put the best food in front of them, they will not eat.
Wow.
They are more innate. They have the
Well, a lot of things that dogs don't do and guys do.
well, okay, so then let's look at the baby. If a baby is not feeling well, the mother will put the bottle in his or her face, and he or she will keep turning the head.
They won't eat, that's
The
right.
baby is more in tune with their body than we are. We've insulted the body so much in the life that we have that we don't even know now what is innate for us. So there are times.
But the body also reacts to stuff that it doesn't agree with. I mean, you
Yes.
feel nauseous.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, especially if I eat something or I overeat or whatever, my body reacts immediately. I don't want to say too long, but another point that I think Guy rose is the matter of drinking hot water, hot enough that you can tolerate it. Early in the morning, as your first drink in the morning. I've never done it, but I've seen it advised. You all have a delay thing on there?
No, we're listening to you. We just...
Yeah, you're a bit delayed, so you better just listening to the telephone.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, the hot water thing. I've read a number of journals that suggest that first thing in the morning. And I figure, well, first thing in the morning, hot coffee. Does that work? Is that the same as drinking hot water, Wendy?
Well, so I give you my conviction. I don't think coffee is something that you should consume. But outside of that, I guess it is hot. So if you're going to consume something, that's the only hot thing that you're going to consume, then fine. But it doesn't take anything from you to just squeeze a little bit of lemon in some warm water.
Yeah, but the reason I ask it is because I've read a number of recommendations of that. Hot water that you can bear, not boiling water, and with a slice of lemon in it.
Yes.
And tonight I hear you saying it tonight. So it kind of made me think maybe I should have it before my coffee.
Yes, before your coffee. If you cannot do without the coffee.
Mr. Wayne,
Yeah.
before I let you go, is it okay if I ask you a little something on the political front, though?
You can ask me anything you
All
want.
right, so we are into an election year, and after 4.5 years, we have not heard anything positive from the Labour Party, or they have not even proposed anything to the St. Lucian public. What can you?
I don't want to go along and
You see, that's why I said to you, can I ask you? I ask you first whether or not I should ask you.
No, you can ask me anything and I'll answer you.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to be as blatant as that for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I did a show for NTN. I recorded it, I think, a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very eye-opening champagne.
Okay.
We were discussing, and this is, it borders on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We were talking about independence. And it occurred to me in the course of conversation that we've never had independence per se, and we've never had the guts to say I've never had independence per se. But when you get into the history of independence, you had two sides involved in an election, and the issue of independence became the football of that particular election.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my fellow guest made the point that when they went to England for the negotiations, the various things they talked about, and etc.
Yeah.
And I asked the question, well, we've been independent since 1979. Why is it those things that the white people didn't want to do and accommodate us, why didn't we do that?
Mm-hmm.
And we had, for example, a constitutional man like Kenny Anthony. He has never thought really to make some serious accommodation changes in the Constitution. But bottom line, we had both parties at the time pull a con. Today I was thinking the word conversation, if the word C-O-N, it's con. When people talk most of the time, they're not conning people, conversations, Because people have to understand that what we really got was political independence. That's how I want to answer your question.
Mm-hmm.
We had political independence. We never had any other kind of independence because we never had money to have any other kind of independence.
Right.
And
right.
to have independence, you got to have money.
Yes, sir.
I don't know that a job was ever produced in St. Lucia by itself.
Right.
But we're busy teaching people to hate foreigners, teaching people as if we don't have enough hate already.
Yeah.
And we are at a point that almost nothing can happen in this country unless the people somehow are turned off this war against ourselves. Somehow that has to stop. And I'm in this game long enough to anticipate the answer. Well, Rick, why didn't you say that when the Labour Party was in office? Well, I bloody well did. I've always said this country is too small for us to be perpetually at war with
each other.
That's what happens, whether UDOP is in office or Labour Party is in office. We are at war with ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I was saying on the show as well, when we got freedom, and I'm prepared to accept that the time of Compton was an elitist time. Guy knows all about that. The kind of people who held office, they were money people, they were of a certain hue and all of that, etc., etc. By the way, Guy, you were reading Hansard a while ago, and you actually spelled out what you saw in Hansard, H-E-W. Hansard is full of those. It's H-U-E. I don't H-E-W.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say that to you. So yeah, Champagne.
Yeah.
So we eventually, let's say, we got the elites off our back. Let's say that Compton era was that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just tolerate that. So what did we do immediately after we offloaded the colonials and Compton and his crowd in '79? What did we do? We declared war on ourselves. And that is what has happened in Grenada. Grenada went to war with itself, All those islands with the unrest and so on. It's effectively the people going to war with themselves, people dying, like it's a thing in the Boulevard. People got hurt.
Yes.
Millions of dollars of property was destroyed. But it's our thing. It was not Americans. It was not Greeks. It was not any. It's St. Lucia turning on St. Lucia. And people have to think of that. And the revolution in Grenada was Grenadians against Grenadians. They got nothing except a lot of people got killed unnecessarily. And whatever dreams and ambitions you may entertain, the bottom line is Grenada is Grenada is Grenada. And when you destroy St. Lucia and fight St. Lucia, it's still St. Lucia, St. Lucia, St. Lucia. So this is a lesson I would like to hear from the politicians in whatever way they want to put it, because this war that's going on here right now, we are all going to lose. I don't know if I have answered you.
You did, but I'd like to question you a little more. But I know you have to. You said that you don't want to be
That's
long.
no problem. If you want to
Yeah.
ask
Well, Mr. Wayne, the war, and you have been around for such a long time. The war has been perpetuated by one side, and people don't like to hear this.
Yeah, but
It is an actual fact.
Champagne, whether I agree with you on that or not, because I know what they would. I heard it recently that what has been happening is that the Labour Party has been retaliating to provocation. So you see, that kind of discussion doesn't take us anywhere because nobody is going to admit. The point is we have been at war with ourselves.
It's
now,
true.
the record shows that, and I think it was Ernest Hiller, I think I would talk about that. He hinted about that. The record shows that the action, the violent action, the actuality of the war itself was always the Labour Party. But they will tell you they were provoked, Champagne.
Wow.
They will tell you they were provoked. I don't know how they were provoked.
Where that provocation came from, I don't
know where the provocation came from the boulevard. I know that story inside out. I don't know where the provocation came from for the mace. I don't know where that came from. But at the end of the day, it is the same people getting hurt. Even if I dare say, it's the same class of people who get hurt every single time.
Yes.
That's the banana thing. It's the same people who got hurt there, you know.
And we know who these people are.
The people who showed up to do the nastiness in the boulevard, it's the same people who are now being triggered again, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes,
it's the
sir.
same thing. And I say everybody, has to sit down and start talking that kind of talk. But the people have been fooled for so many times. George Odlum said so. Only we are not saying how they were fooled, in what way they were fooled. And one of the ways they were fooled is for them to really believe we are an independent nation. We only have the freedom, as Compton used to say, freedom to be lazy, freedom not to work, freedom. We have that. That's a freedom of some kind as well, you know. And we have not been encouraged to lift ourselves.
Yes.
Like people like Guy, who would be called what are you, a taxi driver?
Yeah, bus driver.
Like the guy my number one hero,
Yeah.
and John, he was just a taxi driver.
Yes.
Who the hell is he? That kind of stuff.
Yes,
and
sir.
yet we have those with the degrees, and they are the ones hell-bent on leading the country down the sewer.
Yeah.
So,
well, Mr. Wayne, 42 years later, we are still being heard that take the money, take a loan, and give the people.
There's no discussion going on. And the other thing about the money, well, Guy and I have talked about this. We have been a broke country forever. Okay, we're making it now. Oh, the country has been broke forever. What we have been trying to do is survive, and we've been surviving either by grants or we've been surviving by loans. And the people who are talking most, like Guy's favorite people, for example, the public service, how much 51 whatever % of government revenue could say. And every prime minister, so it's not even he didn't be worried about it. Having said it, every single prime minister and minister of finance has stated that the burden of the public service is far more than the people can bear. And now you're having people quarreling over COVID. How come nobody's getting any pay cuts as far as the public service is concerned? Well, let any politician suggest that, especially in the month of election, and you see where we are.
Yeah.
The politicians are the ones that the gun is to their head. Compton said so.
Yeah.
We like to think that the politicians are this and that. I'm not going to say the best guys in the world, but the politicians really pander to the lowest elements in the society because we are such an uneducated or misdirected society that they have to get the vote and they have to go and play down to those guys
to the level.
Very well.
To the level.
What they're telling the guys, like we told them about independence, is not true. It's not true. The reality about independence has never been taught. Britain, Compton said so at the end there. I remember I attended a meeting he had at the Central Library. And he said, he who was promoting independence as independence, he said independence was never on the table. He said what was happening there was we were being cut off because Britain had taken care of us from colonial to associated statehood and preparing ourselves for independence. Just like bananas. We were always told bananas couldn't last, you know. We ignored all of those things. And nobody is going to have the discussion now. We have to have the discussion about the miseducation of people for years and years in this country. And now we are having to deal with this totally miseducated population.
Wow.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wynn. I would really
Thank
wish
you,
that
Rick.
you would call us every Monday and every Wednesday morning as
No,
well.
I can't get to be one of you.
Okay, sir. Have a good evening.
It's nice to see you.
Thanks a lot, sir. All right,
Thank
beautiful.
you.
All right, great. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Hello. Hello. Okay, so we lost our WhatsApp caller. Special good evening to you. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Good evening. You on?
Hi, I'm calling to have a conversation with Dr. Wendy Bailey, or should I say Joseph?
Yes, Joseph. She's asking whether she should say Joseph or...
Either one is fine. Either one is fine.
Okay. Your holistic remedies caught my attention
Okay.
because I'm familiar with most of them, which I've already introduced some of my family members,
Wonderful.
especially my mom. Excuse me. My apartment is a bit hot. Yes, so the oregano oil. Can you explain a little more on your end what exactly it's good for? Because on my part, I know with me boarding the train every morning, being among so many people, I take a sip or two drops under my tongue. From my holistic
Wow, under your
guy
tongue.
that I purchased all my stuff from, he said it's better to do it that way than to put it in actual water. It's more effective. Tell me your take on that, and I probably have a couple more questions.
That probably would be because the body is able to absorb it directly. You have under the tongue, the body would be able to come in, it would be able to go into the bloodstream directly. My thing with that is that oil of oregano oil, it burns. And unless you have it with a carrier oil, and even when you do have it with a carrier oil, it does burn. So unless the type of oil that you use, they've done something to reduce that element of it. So how does it feel when you take it, though?
Of course it burns.
Right. And so that is why,
Apparently it's some relative of clove oil.
Yes. So the rationale behind taking it in honey, I like taking it in honey. Because when you take it in water, it still burns your mouth when you take it in water. I recommend, when you take it in the water, I recommend to take it with a straw. So that's why taking it in honey for me is easier. So under the tongue, if you can stand it, I guess. But I would not do it that way. I would prefer to take it in the oil. But if your health practitioner feels that it is best to take it under the tongue, because that is sort of like it's homeopathic, isn't it? Because then again, it's homeopathic.
I'm having a little hard time hearing you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because maybe the preparation of the oregano oil is homeopathic preparation and not an essential oil, because the essential oil is so.
It's not an essential oil.
That's it, and that is why you're able to take it under the tongue, because it's not an essential oil. The preparation is such that it's homeopathic, and so you're able to do that. Yes.
Yeah, I do believe in a lot of homeopathy remedies.
Right.
And of course, I'm in New York. My mom is back in St. Lucia, and I've introduced her to most of it. And I'm glad that you brought that up tonight, because I know she's listening, and I'm glad that you did mention it and that she can consider taking it before she gets out there.
Of course.
And that would probably cleanse the lungs from what I was told, that it helps clear whatever is about to come in. And, that helps before leaving and when you get back home.
That's right, because what it does, it opens up the bronchioles to allow the exchange of gas to take place. And what COVID does is that COVID just clogs all of that. And it's also a strong antioxidant. And so it helps you fight. I mean, it just helps you fight a lot of stuff, just a lot of the free radicals that we have in our body that makes us very vulnerable to the virus when it enters our system. And, and the thing is, it is natural. Again, like I said, when you purchase it, you need to try your best not to purchase it with the carrier oils. You need to find the one that is food grade, and not just the essential oil that they use to burn or they use to massage and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's the hard thing to differentiate.
Yes.
With the essential oils and the homeopathy.
The thing is, would you imagine that some of the persons who were giving their testimonies for the protocol that not we had nothing to do with it, but the other medical missionaries put together, what they were saying is, yes, the flu bomb is great, but some persons who did not have those the material at their home, all they used was the oil of oregano, and they got the relief from that. Some of the nurses were using it with their patients. Of course, you're not really supposed to do that sort of stuff, but outside of, if the person is between death and an essential oil to inhale or to ingest, you try whatever you can with your family. And they're realizing that persons were coming back from being way at the end of life with the oil of oregano. So it's a great thing to have.
All right, caller.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. So
oh, sorry. I'm coming closer to the mic.
Attentively.
Okay.
All right, caller.
Do you also believe that it has some way and some means of strengthening or boosting up the immune system, or it's just like a cleanse going through?
Oh, yes, it does. By virtue of the fact that it's an antioxidant, or antioxidant, some people call it, it definitely will assist in boosting your immune system.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't lose by using it.
Okay, caller, you have a great evening. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, beautiful. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Champagne.
Good evening, sir.
Good day. That's Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Minister.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
I can remember you had 2 shows. That is like 2 weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not straying from your program, but I just want to tell you about some of the things you were using when you were doing farming.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember you were talking about some kind of real inject you were using.
Yeah.
And then the correct name for it is Limagon.
Limagon, okay.
Yeah. And they changed it because they put a ban on it because it's so dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
They changed it to Primoseed.
Primoseed. Mm-hmm.
Primoseed. They still put a ban again, and then they add another name to it. They call it Actilate.
Okay.
Because I can remember they had a few doctors that came down to St. Lucia, and they were having meetings with different farmers who use that chemical.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted them to bring the urinate, the feces and the sperm, whatever. Now, it is such a dangerous chemical. Mm-hmm. So I was just laughing to myself. I say, I just said a while ago that you don't have kids. I said, probably you will use that chemical. And that could prevent you from having a kid. Yeah, that was my question. That's what I wanted to say.
That I don't think that's the reason why we don't have kids. But the point you have made there, Mr. Brown, is very important because a lot of our younger people don't have a clue what these things are. And I remember the point I was making about this is you had to have a special gab, you had to wear mask, you had to do all the kinds of things to use these chemicals. But we use these chemicals very careless in the way we didn't use gloves, we didn't use the boots, we didn't use the overall, and we didn't use the face mask that was required. And I was just making the point in relation to that to highlight that the issue of wearing a face mask and doing these things, it is not new. It is just that we have not practiced it. Yeah. A lot of our body men who spray vehicles and get exposed to all these chemicals, there is all of the equipment to be able to use these things. But we generally in St. Lucia, we don't follow these things, and in the long run, we pay a heavy price. And I was saying, in relation to COVID, if we just follow the basic protocols, we can reduce considerably the spread and the impact of COVID in our community.
Yeah.
You're right.
All right, Mr. Brown, anything else?
Thank you for calling.
Thanks.
All right, you have a good night, sir.
Good night.
All right, beautiful. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, there seems to be a little situation of the television is frozen.
The television is frozen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, caller.
Yes. I just wanted to say interested in the pastor show had taken tonight. Good night, Mr. Joseph.
Good night.
To your wife.
Good night.
It was very interesting compared to what we're accustomed to, and that was really good. I would like, if it's possible, if the power bomb or the cold bomb, whatever
The flu bomb.
The flu bomb.
the flu bomb could be, I don't know, downloaded or something with champagne, or so that could be passed
Yeah.
on so that people could.
Yes.
try
Yeah,
to
the recipe
get it.
will be left here, and I'll call it out in the morning.
Or maybe you could put it on Facebook or something so that
Yeah.
they
Right.
can.
So
Yes.
one thing I would like to mention, and I would like, hopefully someday I will be able to get an explanation for that. And the explanation is the hesitancy by most politicians, I mean, to say what actually happened. You see, things have happened in St. Lucia, the history of St. Lucia, a few people know it, but yet they refuse, or for some reason they are afraid on national radio or on television to give the details. So I do not know what the fear is. Or
You want to highlight an example, caller?
There are so many things. I mean, one would not, I wouldn't know where to start. There are so many things that are unexplained. I mean, and for some reason it's afraid to be touched. Look, okay, you all spoke about the thing about Sir John being in Castries, the poop thing and whatever. People know about that, and there are a lot of people who know absolutely nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there has been a lot of accusations of things being done under the table. People know about it, but yet it's like there's this fear. I don't know if it's a cover-up or whatever it is, but hopefully someday we could get to a point whereby we could discuss these things freely without fear, and so that everybody would really get a better understanding. I've been hearing a whole
Yes,
lot
sir.
about that,
Yeah.
but you don't get any details.
No,
You know?
no. Some people are afraid, caller. I'm with you on that. Some people
Yeah,
are
so I
afraid.
don't know. Every time you ask a question, it's a little dodgy. Even tonight, I mean, you ask Rick, somebody like Rick, I mean, who's a repository of information and the history of St. Lucia, the political history. Still, you find there's this hesitancy to.
No, I think Rick gave us a good answer. I mean, he was on his phone
No,
for a
I'm not talking
while.
about tonight,
Oh, okay.
I mean, people, they answer, but they don't answer the question directly.
Yeah.
I mean, and there are so many times, you ask a question and it, boy, I'm not going to touch it.
Caller, you are going down my road because I've said it
I
before.
hope
Some
someday-
people are afraid for their lives, and I don't blame some of them, but there's some history that needs to be told, caller. Some people have done a lot of
Definitely,
stuff in
and
this
I would
country.
like the day that it could be told.
Yes.
I do not know what medium is going to be.
Caller, I get into more trouble for telling the people the truth about what has happened. I come to a program and I don't have a hidden agenda. I come and I discuss things freely and openly. And
Yeah, but you see, it is kind of sinister, that it seems to be politicians are covering each other up so that it seems like if I squeal on that politician boy, maybe they'll squeal on me. So I don't know. It's just
no, I don't think I mean, what you say there is true to an extent, but when you come on a program, you have to be mindful of, and that's why I said a lot of things you can write about, because you can go in and give the details and explain, and you can give the information that is required as a backup. Because you can make a statement on a station that is factual, but you don't have the evidence to back it up. You can be taken to court. you can be taken to task, and you can be charged.
Yeah.
You can be sued because there are things you know,
But you cannot prove.
but you cannot prove.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is one of the difficulties and the challenges that you have when you come on a program to be able, and that's why I do not venture. When Champagne saw me walk in there, all on the floor by me have books
a lot
and
of books.
everything.
I might have to hire Bell up to carry stuff up here.
Because what I do is, if something comes up that I have to respond to, I want to be able to back up what I'm saying with the evidence.
Okay, well, I hope someday.
But, caller, I am with you. I am with you.
To enlighten the whole nation on certain things, because there are a lot of things I've been hearing, but for some reason the details cannot be given up.
Caller, in particularly the coupe par coupe era, this was the worst time in St. Lucia's history than 79, you know.
In fact, tonight,
Worst.
maybe on the next program, I have an agreement. I can read only 2 lines in the agreement because I'm a minister of government. And you know the 2 lines that I can read? The part of it that says that you cannot disclose. And it's the Boca agreement, the agreement for the hotel that was supposed to go down next to Petit Piton in Soufrière by the Maguetut site. Now, that is the disadvantage we have as ministers of government. We've taken an oath of office. If you go and take state information and you release it, the government of St. Lucia can be sued, or you can be sued in your capacity. And that's why on many programs I've said they need to do something. Other people cannot be out there saying what they want, how they want, and we cannot respond appropriately even when we have the information, because we are bound to abide by the oath that we have taken, that there are certain things you cannot disclose.
But on the side of that, again, there are so many things whereby the ordinary man is at the short end of the stick. There are so many things. I mean, look at constitutional reform. One would have hoped in 1997 with a man with a doctorate in constitutional law that finally that our constitution probably would have been revamped and modernized and stuff. And unfortunately, really unfortunate that this never happened up to now. There are so many ways we are disadvantaged. Look at the public service, how difficult it is to fire somebody.
Yes, sir.
I mean, what are we doing really? When are we going to correct those wrongs? Because you cannot have people serving in the civil service, and then they are untouchable. They could do whatever they want.
Whatever they want.
Screw up on the job, they could do.
There are people who have not been at work for 10 years and still getting a salary because they've not been dealt with by the relevant authorities, and the authorities is not necessarily the minister.
But Mr. Minister, isn't that what y'all as politicians are tasked with, to take care of those things? Y'all are there to deal with policy. Why aren't these things being in the forefront to get this?
But the policies are there to deal with it. It's the time lag that it takes to deal with it. You cannot fire anybody. I cannot speak to an employee in a ministry and tell the employee, you cannot do this or you cannot do that, you know. In order for me to do so, I have to go through the permanent secretary or the head of the department or somebody. Like you said, even if we put the policies in effect and the persons who have to implement the policies are not doing it, we cannot do anything about the person not doing it. And I agree with you, that system does not work.
That needs to be circumvented somehow. There needs to be somebody, or when I say somebody, another body that could circumvent the current system we have in some way, because who is guarding the guard then?
So let me give you a classic example. Take the Engineers Association or the Medical and Dental Association. You go to school, you get your degree, you come here to be an engineer. Or take the Bar Association, any one of them. Who decides whether you can come in and practice in St. Lucia? The same people you come in to compete with. So you come in as an engineer, you come in to compete with the other engineers, but they have to sit as a board and determine, are we going to allow you to register as an engineer? Some of them are even asking you to go and write an exam. After you've come in with all of your qualifications, there are doctors who come here. For them to get a license to practice, they have to go through the same doctors that they are coming to compete with. So there are lots of things. Now, when I speak about these things, they would tell you you're attacking people and you're attacking professions. Can you imagine if only politicians decided who could run as politicians?
Yeah.
Who would we choose?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, anyway, we're in a very dark hole, and like I said, I hope someday that we can create a better system, because really what we have there is not working.
It is not. It is not.
Globalization is changing a lot of things, and if we do not change by choice, we will have to change by force.
That's why it looks like a lot of people will be dead before the thing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Thanks a lot, caller.
Okay. Right.
Have a good evening. All right. Special good evening to you. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, Baden in the house.
Baden in the house. Hello.
Hello.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, me say.
Ça n'a dit là. Mais ça off. Mais ça.
Tonight radio, tonight des something to play.
Okay, ça n'a dit là. About by licence ça. L'estimé licence ça about $300.
Licence à tout machine et ben licence.
Licence pour payer licence. So after you buy no choice. After si vous payez pour l'année, vous pouvez payer $150 pour machine oui.
Licence, quelle est licence vous pouvez parler about là? Est-ce que licence driver's license ou bien licence machine?
Driver's license. Licence.
When you registration pour machine là, et qu'on driver's license.
Driver's license. So for the si vous avez un choice, après vous savez payer tout l'année. Si vous voulez payer pour 3 années, vous savez payer pour 3 années. Si vous voulez pour une année, vous savez payer pour l'année.
Ok, so bandou qui m'a été les nous en gouvernement licence c'était $300 pour 3 l'année. So ça so ou pas qu'à payer licence par l'année, ou t'es obligé payer pour 3 l'année. Les moi tenu plusieurs meetings avec différents groupes en différentes places et qui ont dit garder moi pas ni $300 de les 3 l'année à bout pour payer licence là. So est-ce moi ça payer licence là tous les l'année. Now si vous regardez tous les l'année pour y a pas ou pas divide li evenly $100 par l'année because vous voulez encourager moun pour payer licence là pour 3 l'année because là vous paye pour l'année. Yon pour print en 4 bar. Yon pour matcher ici, yon pour faire tout bail. L'année à bout on pour via encore, yon pour via printer l'autre 4 bar, via les through process là. So c'est pour raison ça, si vous payez pour 3 l'année, vous va payer $300, mais si vous payez par l'année, then vous va payer si c'est $125. Moi l'idée là c'est $125 nous te payer par l'année. So extra ou ka paye c'est pour ça print card là et pour process là yo ka fait ba wa. But ça ka mène un soulagement ba yan commerce moun because délai ou pas vle payer pour hold 3 l'année à one time.
Ou là encore?
Oui. Mais à présent, ko je bon pas ta à présent.
Qui ça va demander? Est-ce ou ka demander pour yo mettre $100?
Non, si vous voulez payer $100, on va payer $100.
Mais isn't that in effect?
Oui, mais on peut payer plus par $100 because pour chaque layer on peut printer 4 bar. So côté yo kay ba yon 4 pour 3 l'année si vous payez pour 3 l'année à one time. Si vous payez chaque l'année, c'est 3 différents license cards yo pour print bar. C'est 3 7 fois moun en ministry ni pour attendre pour oui si ni pour marcher différents bail ni pour fait pour sa process en licence ba 3 fois. So il passe à fait pour même pour ya accorder sous te because ça qui te kay fait là c'est tout le monde qui commence à payer licence yo par yon fois par l'année. So extra l'argent c'est pour décourager moun pour faire par l'année et pour encourager pour faire tous les 3 l'année.
Well, ek moi tu yo ka pour faire là pour ça extra $25 l'année.
By ça tous les l'année tout oui, on aurait payé taxe là, road tax là.
Oui, because road tax là c'est pour machine et qu'on est pour joindre sticker pour ça mais à sous machine ou sur licence machine because insurance machine c'est pour yon l'année. Ou pas qu'un insurance machine pour 3 et 4 l'année one time. Because chaque année on peut faire inspection pour machine et si machine roadworthy si passe inspection den ou ça paye licence insurance là et den ou paye licence machine là. So licence machine là différent from driver's license là moun nan ka joindre là.
Mais quand la coûte moi, on y a un problème qui ça problème yo, on y a un problème bien l'année et ben on a un problème puis toi l'année.
Man problème moi dit à présent ça va mon choice.
Oh, mais ça va toujours en place hein?
Oui, choice là.
Choice là quoi là?
Ok, si moi pour payer licence moi. Si moi pour payer $200 pour license road là. Et puis et $300 encore.
Non, ça ministre a dit si vous voulez payer pour l'année ou pas payer ensemble, on est pour payer 125 because Matura yo ka point pour faire licence là, il ka coûte $25. So c'est 125 year.
150 year.
Oh 150?
I know.
Oui, 150.
Okay. Well, mate ça, mate quoi c'est 125.
Oh 150 year.
Okay, c'est 150. Okay. Alright, Kola, well, combien nous garder pour essayer de s'appliquer pour payer 300, bah, la mauvaise, c'est joie, hein?
Oui, est-ce que sticker already?
Non, nous bay because ministry a manière bay a ministry a nous te parlé bay c'est moun na qui ka manager traffic department là moi te parlé bay chef police là même pour dire pour bay tout moun en chance pour finissement mois ça. So nous te dit from 15 janvier pour finissement février, end of February. So di temps ça moi quoi tout bail qui vient en place en ministry a côté moun qui ça aller pour payer l'argent dat yo ka douya. But là na chaise service là qui est available ça nous ka couiller online côté où ça fait différents transactions online. Ça ou pas ça fait online nous demander police pour bail mon en chance pour finissement février pour yo ça met papier yo ensemble. So police pas supposé charge you. Now si depuis décembre ou pas te payer, yo kay charge you. Si commencement janvier ou pas te payer et yo joindre en lèchement yo ça charge you. Mais si from 15 janvier pour venir à présent yo joindre nous, yo kay ba anti chance because yo savent ministry a pas ni tout monde nan qui était là ka travail là because of problem COVID là.
OK Kola? Okay. Well, you are bonne soirée.
All right.
Okay, merci, Ansai. We have calls coming in, Mr. Minister. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, go ahead, caller. The minister is hearing you.
Okay. I just wanted to find out. Good evening to the minister and his wife.
Good evening.
I would like to find out with the problem of the vaccine that is going to be coming into St. Lucia, with the negatives that we are hearing so much of, and some of the positives that we are hearing, what would the minister advise me to someone who, you would like to take it, however, with what you're hearing, you have that doubt, and there are some times when you have to take it if you have to travel. What would you advise?
Remember, any form of medication is a personal choice. If you go to the hospital, no doctor can give you any medication if you do not agree for the medication. If you do not agree to be treated, they would ask you to sign a consent form, a waiver, that if anything happens to you, then they are not directly responsible. That was your right to exercise. The same applies with the vaccine. I think we have overburdened ourselves with excessive information, a lot of fake news. If people ask me, will I take the vaccine? My answer is yes, I will take the vaccine. When my turn comes to get the vaccine, that is a choice. Now, because I will do it, does not mean that everybody else will do it or everybody else should do it. That is a personal choice that people would have to make. All over the world, people are taking vaccines. From a child growing up, people have been taking vaccines in St. Lucia. I can tell you, as a cabinet minister, one time we had to travel, they said, you have to get an injection or a vaccine for yellow fever.
That's right.
Without that, you cannot travel to the place that you are going. I had to make a choice. Do I want to go there? If I want to go there and if I have to go there, then I have to take the vaccine. Without the vaccine certificate, they will not allow me in the country, because if I get yellow fever and something happens to me there, that country does not want to be responsible. So as to whether it's the government to advise, when people need medical advice, they go to the medical practitioner. They don't come to politicians.
That's right.
You go to your doctor, your nurse, your advisor, or somebody. I think these are the best placed persons to advise people about the vaccine. But everybody is looking at it as if that's not our decision as politicians. We are going to make the vaccine available for people. We are going to encourage people as much as possible to be vaccinated so they can build some immunity towards the COVID-19, but that is entirely by choice.
Yeah. Are you there, caller?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So was the response great? Are you gonna?
I am hearing you very, very, very light.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. Are you gonna be one of those persons taking the vaccine?
I doubt very much, but let's see how it works out. I'll see after the first 200,000, and then I will.
200. Okay, caller.
But millions of people have taken the vaccine at different places around the world. Millions of persons have taken the vaccine already.
Hello?
Hello?
We can hear you.
Let me tell you, I was holding on for about pretty close to 20 minutes while Rick was on.
Yeah.
I am not saying that his contribution was not very important, but when we have just about an hour for calling, and one person gets 20 minutes, it really puts you off, you know. Because there were other things that I wanted to ask, but then other persons came on and for instance, the question about the licensing, paying the $150 for the year as in comparison to the 3 years, the $300. And I'm thankful that the minister explained that, because I thought it was $100 per year. But then he said he explained, you know, that you have to pay for the producing of the card. So I do understand.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, caller. Thanks a lot.
Thank you and good night.
Have a good evening, caller. Thanks a lot. Now, you know, one of our reasons for allowing Mr. Rick all the time, Mr. Rick has not called us in a long time, and I would also give him the liberty to speak with us. 4560931. We have 10 minutes into the program. 10 more minutes left into the program. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm calling to talk about the table. Hello?
You are very low, caller, but we can hear you.
Okay, I'm talking about the ingredients that was given.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometime I can say last year March, just before the lockdown, I was at one of the hotels and I had a
Yeah.
There's this global doctor that I'm following on Facebook, and he said to use turmeric, cayenne pepper, ginger, um, the orange peel or lime peel,
Mm-hmm.
lemon peel,
Yeah.
and boil it and drink that and drink it throughout the day.
Right.
So I drank it throughout the day, and by the next day, I was normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We want to ring the bell on that. That's beautiful.
One of my brothers, he works at one of the hotels, and while he was at work, he told me to make some tea for him.
Mm-hmm.
He had a headache, his nose was running, and then he started coughing. And then I made it for him. It was about after 1 in the morning when he woke up, he was normal.
Yes.
Wow.
The thing
Awesome.
about it, with me, I believe in a lot of natural products.
Mm-hmm.
And even like before Corona, if I would feel my throat, I would just take a teaspoon of lime, squeeze some lime and drink it. Or maybe boil the orange peel or lime peel and just drink it. So I would advise anybody who has maybe flu symptoms to take those there for years. My grandmother
Right.
right. And it's all about just building your immune system and keeping your immune system strong.
That's right.
Wow, Cole, I'm happy to hear you saying that.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
really wish, I kept asking my brother, do you know anybody who has corona? Do you know that? Because I want to know,
Yes.
how does it work? Because I am not too sure if it was corona I had, but I know whenever I have the flu or anything, that's what I do.
Yes.
So, and the cayenne pepper is really good at
Oh, yes.
and while you're boiling it, you would find either it will make you sneeze or cough, but it actually clears your nostrils.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to breathe properly.
Wow.
So anyone who's out there listening, I hope they do those things to help them.
Wow, great testimony, caller. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you so much for calling. The
All right.
simple
Have
things.
a beautiful evening. Yes.
The simple things. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yes, indeed.
And what we are proposing, or what was proposed, there is not a substitute for your doctor.
Yes, not at all.
It is to help build your immune system. Some people will go and buy the vitamin C tablets and all of these things. People have choices of things, but it's to build your immunity. And I do it myself, so we are not asking people to do things. And this is not to tell you that if you take that, you should not take the vaccine or anything.
Yeah.
Everything you needs to be advised by your medical doctors. And for those who have issues, like I said, Better Living Center in Capitol Hill is a good place where you can stop for your natural herbal medication.
Yeah. Thanks for holding, caller. Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Mr. Minister and to your wife, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Champagne, I've heard so many testimonies about those natural remedies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I do. I have a lot of sinus issues.
Mm-hmm.
What I do the inhalation. I put garlic, I put onion, I put lemon peel, I put eucalyptus oil in there, and I cover my head with a towel, and I get that thing going. And when I go to bed at night, I could feel that thing dripping from my head.
Wow.
And when I wake up in the morning, man, it's all clear.
Yes.
So when they gave the right recipe for that thing, you need to take it,
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
all of our colleagues should.
I have the recipe here now, so.
And we are directly involved.
Yeah.
Because we are the first step to people when they come in.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, somebody who had it, we're in the front line.
Yeah.
So we really need to boost that immunity. Now, there are two things that are keeping me up tonight. One that inside Castries, Southeast Castries. And the other one is the sound of construction going on right now at St. Jude.
Even as we speak, there's work being done?
And as we speak, the guys are pouring.
My goodness. Mr. Minister, there's something secretive you're not telling us. It looked like we're trying to open at the end of the month.
I just came from there about an hour ago, and I think they have about another 2 sections to go. So they might be there for another 2 hours or so.
Wow. We need to ring the bell on that. This is what you call keeping the cost overrun syndrome we don't believe in cost overruns.
Well, we don't have that.
We don't have that at all in this administration. That's
all
for
in
sure.
all, champion, great show, Mrs. Joseph.
Yeah.
Insightful. And Mr. Joseph, as usual,
all right, my brother.
You guys have a good
All right, have a good evening. All right, St. Lucia, we have 4 minutes left.
You know, my constituency is developing a reputation. Priske Lash is also in the constituency of Castries Southeast, in the community of Mac. And both of us have visited his establishment. And we've actually done a tour with Priske Lash to get an explanation of all of the herbal stuff that he uses on the farm right there in the community. And there are people coming from overseas for special treatments in St. Lucia. And that in itself is beneficial. But we can take the call.
Thanks for holding, caller. Good evening.
Good evening, Zambin.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. and Mrs. Joseph, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, Mrs. Joseph, the remedy you gave there, how you call it, the super bomb?
The super flu bomb.
The super flu bomb. When you do that stuff, when you blend it, how long can you store it for?
Up to a month. 3 weeks to a month in the refrigerator.
Okay. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Joseph now.
Yes.
It's your turn.
And you take it 3 times a day, okay?
3 times a day?
Yes.
2 teaspoons.
Is it 2? No.
1 teaspoon?
Yes. 3 times a day. And if you have the active virus in you, the COVID virus, you take it every 15 to 20 minutes until your symptoms subside.
So before meals or after meals?
I would take it after meals because for some individuals, the lemon and the cayenne pepper may be a bit strong on your stomach. So I would take it after meal.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Listening to you tonight, Mr. Joseph, I realize everybody's straying away from the politics, and that is the season. What you are reading, what you read a while ago, these are the things that was implemented by Dr. Anthony to privatize these things, and has it been kept a secret that we are not disclosing it, or you believe that you take your time to release it at the right time?
No, I mean I've been touching on a few of them, and I have things. So if I just open to one of the pages of Dr. Anthony's budget speech of 1998, and learner's permit, the first thing they did when they came in, learner's permit moved from $50 to $75. And up to today, a learner's permit is still at $75.
20 years.
You have the registration of new motor vehicles or trailers from $30 to $100. And then visitors' driver's license moved from $30 to $54. And then there was an introduction of another fee. I don't have it on this page here. So it just tells you, yes, I have it. It says a special license of $300 for tandem axle vehicles exceeding 3 tons. So all of these things, what we have seen is every time the Labour Party comes into office, there is
a tax increase.
In every area. And that was in 1998, his first main budget speech. And you need to see how many new taxes. And if you go down the road to the 100%, you remember when they had doubled the price of water?
Yes.
And then they came in and they added another 66.5%.
Yeah.
So the price of water, and the interesting part is the price of fuel. When they came in 1998, gas was $6 and about 10 cents a gallon. From 1994, the government of the United Workers' Party that was in office had not raised the price of fuel. as soon as Dr. Anthony came in, to find a creative way to increase the price. He said he was doing away with driver's license fees and he was putting it on fuel, which made the price a lot higher than if he was charging the license fees. So, and that's why I'm telling St. Lucians, pay attention. You see that VAT situation that you are hearing, don't mind from who it's coming. This is part of the Labour Party agenda to put it out there through different mediums to get a feel from the people. So UWP took VAT from 15% to 12.5%.
Yeah.
The Labour Party looks like they want to increase VAT back to the 15 and to put an additional VAT so that all the poor people that they talk about will now have to pay that additional VAT.
Because what happened, Mr. Joseph, this afternoon there, my young boy came home and he told me, Daddy, you know something? I went to the barber shop with my uncle, and then some people were discussing you, saying how you always calling the programs and supporting the UWP, and why do you have to do that? So then he was telling me about the VAT. So I tell him, look, the UWP is in power, and they brought down the VAT from 15% to 12.5%. And I tell him for 4 years, ask the people that were discussing me in the barbershop, what additional tax has the UWP implement on St. Lucians? And all the time they are running the country. So but he's not, he cannot vote because he's a young boy. So I tell him, let me tell you something. The UWP is the government for the people of St. Lucia. That is a government that will help the people of St. Lucia. And I tell him, you're still young, maybe I will have to guide you along. The Labour Party is the party that wants to destroy the people of St. Lucia by just putting the wrong set of things in the head. And I have to tell him, let me tell you, everything that has caused destruction in this country has been done by the Labour Party. And I tell him, I can dare anybody to tell you one thing that was caused that is not good for St. Lucia that happened by the UWP. And he tell me, oh, Daddy, I did not know these things. Now, I said this to ask you again, Mr. Joseph. You mentioned the privatizing of...
We're out of time, caller, so we have 2 more minutes.
Okay. Mr. Joseph, you were saying, I'm talking about the privatization of the marketing board. So you are telling us that was still implemented by Dr. Anthony on the books?
No, you see, all of the issues, and I will come and take a day to discuss all the proposals for privatization in his budget speech. But you see, they say they can do, that's why I tell you, that's the government who can talk, but they cannot work. Because they say they will do things, but they've not been able to do it. Because when they get into government, they say one thing, but when it comes to doing it, but when they see a government who can do the things, is doing the same thing they said they would have done, but they didn't do, then they come and find a problem. Remember what I said about the university, they wanted to come and help run VH? But when we talk about Cayman Health City, and the Indians are the best. Can you imagine the Labour Party was in Parliament criticizing an Indian business person for the license fees for the e-books? Now, the license fees is not just a license fee, it's a license fee for the books, so you get access to the books. Anybody who goes on any device, and Wendy maybe can help me on that. There are books that you can buy, hard copy, and there are books you buy electronically. So the license fees that you would be paying is a license fees for access to all of the books that are required. So the parent would not have to buy any hard copy books. Now they are accusing an Indian company that is recognized by the Indian government. But today they are boasting the same Indian government is making the vaccine available to St. Lucia, and you hear them talking about, oh, how Barbados got and Dominica got and St. Lucia. You see, you don't go about talking bad about other people, and then tomorrow you want favors from these same people. Because this is a country that we trade with. This is a country that have been helping St. Lucia over the years. And most recently, they have made quite a big change in their foreign policy. Now, when you attack their business people, what do you think? Because these people have influence with their governments in the country. And we need to be mindful that our behavior, and the Labour Party does not care what they destroy in their path to wanting to be in government. They will destroy St. Lucia if they have to, just for them to be in government.
All right, Connor.
But Mr. Joseph, I can tell you, Mr. Joseph, I do not see how or when they will ever come in power. Because you see, to be honest, our main objective here and our main purpose is to focus that the Labour Party do not and cannot win another election in St. Lucia until you folks want to retire and allow them to win an election. Thank you very much.
Caller, we all have to go out and vote. Now, that complacency, that's seen it happen before. Huh?
My brother,
make sure you tell everyone that you know to get their ID cards ready and go out and vote on election day. This is how it's done.
My brother, I'm not going and vote alone. I bring in everybody in my area and my constituency, and I make sure I tell them where and how to vote.
Amen. All right.
Thank you, my brother.
Have a good evening. All right, beautiful. So we have gone way past our time from 10:30 up until, if we sit here, it's going to be almost 1 o'clock. What are you going to do, Mr. Mason? You want to take one more?
Last call. I'll make it very short.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're going to be our final caller for the evening. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
That Mr. Guy?
Yeah. Well, this is Champagne. Mr. Guy is here. Yes, sir.
Well,
all right, Mr. Harry. What make wedding Avenue Checo?
All right.
Oui. Okay.
Okay, good. Bye-bye. Okay, merci, Mr. Harry. Yeah, bonsoir. Okay, merci. St. Lucia, unfortunately, we have to end it here, and all of the calls coming by WhatsApp, we have to say a special thank you. And we have calls here, but we will not be taking any more calls because it's way past 11. So thank you very much, St. Lucia, for tuning in into another program inside Castries office. Any last words, Mr. Minister?
Well, I first of all want to thank Wendy for being on the program with me tonight, because I mean, that's not her favorite thing, being in the public domain.
Well, not public domain, politics, but she's in other public domains in terms of schools and everything.
Yes.
Right.
But I really appreciate the level of support and encouragement that I get from her. And I think a few people messaged me and they were talking about the importance of having a strong woman to be the support for a man in terms of his line of work.
Yeah.
And that is one area that I am very, very grateful for. I thank all the callers, all the contributors to the program tonight. I thank my constituents of Castries Southeast. I will continue to work in your best interest as long as you decide that you want me to represent you. And for the rest of St. Lucia, we will continue to work for the betterment of our country. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to everyone. We are not over the worst of COVID yet. Let us maintain our social distance. Let us do what is necessary to protect ourselves and our family. Remember to keep your mask on, to be able to sanitize, wash your hands regularly, and keep your social distancing. Whatever the outcome is with the new protocols, whenever the new businesses and all other businesses that are closed will open, that does not mean that we are in the clear. Let us continue to follow all of the protocols. Not even though you don't want to do it for yourself. Do it for the benefit of your family, your friends, your loved ones, the people around you, and for the sake of your country. We are coming towards independence. I think
Tuesday. Next Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, a week from now. Week from today.
Will be independence. I want to take the opportunity to wish every St. Lucian happy independence. Let us be patriotic. Let us do what we can for our country. This is the place that God has given us, and we could not have been in a better part of the world. I always say, being born in the tropics, in the Caribbean, in St. Lucia, the Helen of the West, is a great privilege. I don't see anywhere else I want to trade places for in the world. Let us do the best that we can. Let us be the best that we can be. And good night to everyone.
You mind giving us a quick update on St. Jude's on next week?
No, we'll talk about St. Jude as we go along.
All right,
Wendy, you want to say good night to
and
everybody?
any last words, Miss?
I'd like to say thank you so much, Champagne, for having me.
Yes, anytime.
I quite enjoyed myself tonight. Thank you to the callers. And just a reminder, please, people, do what you need to do to protect your family, to protect yourself, and to have St. Lucia back to what it was. Because initially we did it. We were working at it, and we can do it again. And I know that we love each other, and so that we are brothers keeper in that regard.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
Big up to GVD tonight.
GVD.
You've been doing a great job, and we really appreciate what y'all are doing.
I still do have some complaints from some of the people out there. They say GVD walk around too much. I want to. so I have to tell them like it is. So
we are in a small space.
We are in a small space, and for our apologies on that, viewers, because this is a small place.
It's
but they're
great,
very beautiful people.
For them to be able to utilize that place and to make it work as well as they are doing, it's remarkable.
Yeah, so we have to give them the bell on that. DVD TV. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Minister and your beautiful wife, we want to say thank you once again for being with us this evening, and especially you, Mrs. Joseph. Thank you for coming in, and you're invited back here at any time. As long as Champagne is sitting there, you're always welcome here. St. Lucia, once again, thank you very much on another beautiful Monday evening with the program Inside Castries Southeast. Don't forget, tomorrow morning I'm going to be back in studio with the program Champagne in the Morning, where you could call in and let's talk a little bit about whatever you'd like to talk. And then but Brother Norbert before me will be here tomorrow morning, and he has his special lady calling in from Canada, and it's going to promises to be a beautiful show tomorrow morning. You don't want to miss Keeping It Real, morning edition right here on Sky FM 93.1. St. Lucia, until tomorrow at 9 o'clock, I will be back here. We want to say to you, we do have a great evening. Don't forget to say thank you to the great God above, because he was the one that brought you here today, and he's the one that's going to bring you into tomorrow. So always say thank you to the great God above. We are going to go right into the BBC, and we have finished the phone period. So have a good night, St. Lucia. Be safe.
Great fun.
We love you.
To slide it, and make all these lovely, different, cheeky noises.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the sound is like a lion rolling, like